Wild Card Saturday's unforgettable playoff memories.
And this is the 11th play, 1st and 10 as Marino throws. Clayton has it, touchdown! Haynes makes the catch. Haynes into same territory. Michael Haynes has just scored a touchdown.
And Butts pounds into the middle, and Butts breaks it. 30, 20, 10, touchdown! Barr, with daylight and time, goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads.
Joe Blitz, here they come, they pick it up. Marino long one. Touchdown to Irving Fryer. Well, is this the end of Montana's career?
For Don Shula, it has been the toughest year of his storied career. Frustrated and out of control, the Dolphins must again look to their legendary quarterback, Dan Marino. Not many expected the Bills to be here, but the most resilient team in recent memory with the same old cast of characters is back for one more Super Bowl run. The hot seat is nothing new for Wayne Fontes. The Lions put themselves in a position where they had to win every game, and they did, behind an offense that is no longer only Barry Sanders. New coach Ray Rhodes brought a winning attitude to Philadelphia, made the switch at quarterback, and allowed Ricky Watters to carry the Eagles to a 9-3 finish. Today, the road to Super Bowl 30 begins here on ABC's NFL Wild Card Saturday. The AFC will kick off the postseason. Two bitter rivals will square off in the bitter cold as the relentless Buffalo Bills host the Miami Dolphins. Then it's the NFC's turn. The Eagles hope to cool off the league's hottest team, the Detroit Lions, at the Vet. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Robin Roberts. 4 teams are hoping for a belated Christmas gift, plus a victory today would be a great early start to the new year. 2 men who know firsthand what the playoffs are all about are with me in the studio. Bears head coach Dave Wannstedt and Chiefs running back Marcus Allen. You guys had the best record in the league, 13-3 bye week, and here you are hard at work.
I'm glad to be here.
You're just that kind of guy. Dave, I know you would rather be coaching this time of the year. Your Bears barely missed the playoffs. Last year, you're a wild card team. You upset the Vikings, so you know anything's possible today.
Well, I think the thing that makes everything so exciting this time of year is I don't think you're going to see the 14-win teams anymore. Just look at the wild card weekend. 4 of the 8 teams participating this weekend have 9 wins. That gives everybody a chance for the Super Bowl.
Marcus, what's it like for the players this time of the year?
Well, that game right there further illustrated to the Chiefs how important home field advantage is.
Well, whether you backed into the playoffs or you're a top seed like your Chiefs are, it doesn't really matter. One loss and you are home for the holidays. Let's take a look at the AFC seedings, the top seeds. Marcus's Chiefs and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up at the bottom of the hour. It's Miami against Buffalo. The Dolphins haven't won a road playoff game since 1972. The Colts and Chargers tomorrow, they'll meet for the first time ever in the playoffs. Now a look at the NFC, the Cowboys and the Niners, as expected, the top 2 seeds. We'll speak with both their quarterbacks today. Today, our second game, Detroit at Philadelphia, identical 10-6 records. Atlanta tomorrow against Green Bay, featuring 2 quarterbacks who threw for over 4,000 yards this year, Jeff George and Brett Favre. We are warm and cozy inside the studio here. In fact, we've got a little fireplace going in the corner. I know we're stretching a bit. Let's go outside now to Brent Musburger at a brisk Rich Stadium.
Robin, happy holidays. Really not too bad in Buffalo, but let's start out by setting the record straight on Don Shula. Regardless of what happens here today, Shula will be back next year as head coach of the Dolphins, his 27th consecutive season. Now, there will be changes with the Dolphins, players, and perhaps this time coaches. Shula doesn't like to make many coaching changes. His defensive assistants have been under fire almost all year. But test out this latest piece of NFL gossip. Wannstedt will love this. If Gary Stevens takes a head coaching job in college football or the NFL, Sam Weish might be coming to Miami. Don and Sam are good friends, and Shula respects him. Right now, let's go back to Robin.
All right, Brent, thank you very much. As far as the Dolphins' opponents today, the Bills, of course, they missed the playoffs last year. They heard all the jokes. They even snickered at themselves.
Guys, this year, we're going to win it. Yeah. No one is leaving this room until we figure out how. No one.
Well, as far as most are concerned, Buffalo is never going to get out of that room. The Bills have been down, kicked around, and counted out. And after 4 consecutive visits and 4 heartbreaking losses at the Super Bowl, last year seemed to mark their end. A 7-9 season, no playoffs, but still they bounce back. Adversity seems to be Buffalo's greatest motivator.
People love to hate us. Any other 7-9 team that finished 7-9 last year, they would never say, well, you guys are going to finish 5th or last in the division, your own division. I mean, they wouldn't say that about the 49ers. They wouldn't say it about Dallas or any other team. But they're going to say about us because they don't like us.
Disliked and disrespected, but still the Bills come back for more. The difference this time is the defense. With the acquisition of key free agents, specifically the league's leader in sacks, Bryce Paup, things seem to be looking up for the much-maligned Bills. But bad luck is never far away from Buffalo. Injury struck. And with their own unique sense of unity, the Bills rally to recover again.
The old saying is around the National Football League, when you're a second teamer, you're only one play away from being a starter. And some of the younger guys found that out.
We've had guys step up across our roster. I mean, from the 46th guy on the roster all the way to those top guys, step up at crucial times and win games. Not just make a play, but win a game.
Tasker would know, going from a special teams performer to a wide receiver. All the way down the roster, players stepped up and made it happen for their teammates. But darkness again soon clouded the Buffalo skies.
The suspicion is, and the determination is, that it's a low-grade and slow-spreading type of cancer.
That was a pretty serious moment when we heard Marv had prostate cancer.
We had a team meeting, and I just told them that I'd been diagnosed for it, that I was going to be leaving them for a little while, that I expected to be back soon, and told them to go ahead and carry on.
But with 3 games on the road, no Marv, and injured players, they were only able to carry out 1 victory. Still not enough to keep Buffalo down. Just how they come back to win their division?
It comes from one person only, Marv Levy. Some of the things he says to us, the way he prepares himself for games, the way that the players admire what he stands for.
The Bills know what they stand for too, resilience and unity. And for coach and players, that speaks louder than all the ridicule they endure.
Being a Buffalo Bill, you know, you're going to hear a lot of jokes because we have lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, but the one thing that we control is that when we go on that football field, you know, we're a team, and we're going to win together and we're going to lose together.
I'll tell our players, what you do speaks so loudly no one can hear what you're saying. Go on out and do something.
You know, Robin, if I'm a Bills fan, the most encouraging thing about this team compared to years past is they're playing defense consistently, which will set up some turnovers and give their offense a chance to win some games.
That's a good point.
You don't have to like this team. You have to respect them. I guarantee you Miami does.
And there are a team to respect at home, the Buffalo Bills, 8-0 at Rich Stadium. But Dan the Man, Dan Marino, not intimidated. He set 4 all-time NFL records this season. Now the Bills.
ABC's NFL Wild Card Saturday, brought to you by Digital Equipment Corporation. Digital, whatever it takes. And Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet.
Thurman Thomas has been the Dolphins' chief nemesis. As for tomorrow's games, we have reports on both sides, beginning with Peter Ging in Green Bay.
Thanks, Robin. Greetings from the frozen tundra, which isn't all that frozen. By game time, it should be about 25 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds, and a chance of flurries. Now, that won't bother Brett Favre, who's 13-0 in freezing weather games. This morning, I asked him why.
Oh, I don't know. I always say it's because of my big hands. You know, I was blessed with big hands, and if you never grip the ball on game day, when it's 20 degrees or 30 below, it's tough to do and it's slippery. So I feel blessed, and that's what helps me out.
Now, the other story here is Reggie White's torn hamstring. I asked him what he expects from his limited role tomorrow.
I want to monitor somewhat. You know, I like to play as many plays as possible, but according on how it feels, you know, probably around 15 to 20 plays.
That's it from chilly Green Bay. Let's throw it to Tim Brandt in warm San Diego.
Peter, it's the Chargers and Colts here at the Murph tomorrow afternoon, and Junior Seau was telling me yesterday last year's playoff experience has helped the Chargers immensely.
The experience of going to the Super Bowl and being in the playoffs for the second time with Bobby Ross, it's definitely an experience boost, you know, to know that we've been there before. And what we know is that we can't get on the emotional high and expect it to be there. You know, we have to go out there and perform, and that's what we're going to do Sunday.
Stan Humphries has practiced all week. His sprained neck is okay. Bobby Ross told me that Natron Means had a great practice yesterday. The Colts are due in here at 2:30 this afternoon. Robin?
All right, Tim, someone who will be keeping a close eye on your game and plus the one we have coming up, Steelers head coach Bill Cowher, who joins us live from Seven Springs, Pennsylvania. Good job once again, Coach. You're home for the holidays for the first game like you were last year. Is it a little disappointing that for so much beginning of the year and even during the year that so many people talking about the Cowboys and the Niners, that it was a foregone conclusion that they would be back in the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think so, Robin. I mean, it's an obvious assessment. I mean, they've played very good football, and they have throughout the year. And, you know, I think the AFC is going to have to, you know, win a Super Bowl to get the due recognition that it deserves.
Hey, Coach, your utilization of Cordell Stewart, was that solely your idea, or did he whisper in your ear?
Well, Marcus, you know, we got into a situation, we had a rash of injuries at the wide receiver position. We asked him if he could help out the team in practice. That turned over to helping us in the game. And I think from there it kind of snowballed, and we ended up doing some things that allowed us to utilize his talents because he's a very talented individual.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you something. Being a defensive guy, you know, and ending up scoring the most points of any team in the AFC, are you comfortable going into the playoffs knowing that you're throwing the football to win games and not running the ball?
Well, I think we are a little more versatile right now, Dave, to be honest with you. I think we're more comfortable in the fact that we can play a lot of different style of games. We still feel like we can run the ball efficiently, but at the same time, if it gets into a high-scoring affair, we feel like we have played those games during the season and that we have the ability to adapt to a game however it unfolds.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. And, Coach, sit back and enjoy the game. You've deserved it. Dan is the man for the Dolphins, but Jim Kelly, he calls the shots for the Buffalo Bills. The ageless veteran quarterback prepares for battle yet again. Kickoff coming up.
In Buffalo, NFL security has been beefed up, and you know the reason why. The league's #1 villain, Brian Cox, has returned with Miami. 2 weeks ago, he got tossed out of a game against the Bills. He exited stage right, and he was spitting at the fans. Earlier this week, I sat down for this interview with Cox.
Right off the top, you've been through this before, but you've never had to go back 2 weeks after an incident. What's it going to be like for you to go back to Buffalo?
No big deal. I mean, my focus is on the game. I think 2 weeks ago I didn't play exactly well to help my organization or my team win.
Number 51, Miami, is ejected.
Walking off the field, spitting at the fans. Were you embarrassed by your conduct? Were you ashamed, or would you do the same thing again?
I would do the same thing again. I'm not embarrassed in the least. You know, again, I preach to kids all over that I don't condone fighting. People look at me and say, this is a game. It's not a damn game. It's a $2 billion a year industry. This is how I feed my family. I didn't spit on anybody. I was generally in the middle of the field, walking off the field after I was ejected, spitting in the direction of the fans, but it was on the field. And it was just to say in disgust that I wasn't afraid of anybody.
Have the coaches sat down with you throughout the course of the season and said we have to watch our image or anything of that nature?
Image. That's something that the NFL talk about all the time. The hell with the image. We got to win games. This is a violent game, and they're trying to clean it up as much as possible. But, I mean, that's why I grew up playing the game, because it is violent. And because you can take your frustrations out. And because you can go on the field and you can whoop as much butt as you can in 3 hours and you can't go to jail. That's what I love about this game.
A very smart man. About an hour ago, no jersey on, his first entrance. Get loose, get ready. It'll be different when he comes back wearing number 51. Right now, let's go to Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Brent, I'm with one man who is not impressed with Brian Cox, owner Ralph Wilson. Mr. Wilson, you wrote a letter to Commissioner Paul Tagliabue. Do you think Brian Cox should be suspended?
Well, I don't know. Brian Cox is we think he's an outstanding football player. That's up to the commissioner. And we respect Brian Cox, but we hope that he'll use his abilities on the field.
What about for you? People have said that this year the Bills might have earned more respect than even going to 4 Super Bowls. How satisfying has it been for you?
Well, I don't want to downplay the excitement of the Bills going to 4 Super Bowls. It was just great, but this season is something special. It's the 6th division championship for the Bills through a lot of adversity, which all teams I know undergo, and it's been great for the team.
Well, it's been very impressive. Thank you very much. All the best. And we'll be back with Robin and Wild Card Saturday right after this.
You're just moments away from kickoff, and Coach, what else should we look for?
Well, I think when the Dolphins are facing one of the best pass rushing teams in the NFL, the Dolphins are starting 2 rookies in the offensive line. They have to get some type of running game going to keep the pressure off Dan Marino.
And Marcus, I know you're keeping your eye on 2 Bills in particular.
Well, the key is going to be Thurman Thomas and the way he runs the ball. He's done well during the playoffs, and he has gained over 2,000 yards total offense running and receiving against the Dolphins alone. So, and also Andre Reed, who's been hampered by injury, but he comes up big in the playoffs as well. So.
All right, gentlemen, we'll get your thoughts at the half. We'd also like to send our best wishes to John Saunders and his lovely family. John, we'll see you soon, and in the meantime, I'll keep your seat warm for you, all right? Coming up, the Bills and the Dolphins.
They're ready on the set, Mr. Goldblum.
Oh. Are you ready for some football? Huh? Oh! After a long, grueling regular season, the Super Bowl dreams of 18 teams have been laid to rest in an ominous NFL graveyard. May their 95 seasons rest in peace. Now the playoffs begin, and with 4 teams earning byes, 8 others do battle this weekend in pursuit of a trip to Super Bowl 30. Later today, the Lions and Eagles square off in Philadelphia. But first, it's the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Don Shula, the NFL's all-time winningest coach, seeks a record-tying 20th postseason victory. He comes to Buffalo with Dan Marino, who knows something about NFL records himself, having established career marks for completions, attempts, yardage, and touchdown passes in '95. But his record-setting year for the Dolphins has been marred by its share of adversity in Miami. But after a midseason swoon, they enter the playoffs having won 3 of their last 4 games. For the Bills' Marv Levy, he's brought them back into Super Bowl contention while also fighting a personal battle with cancer. His team is also led by a veteran quarterback. Jim Kelly, who at 35 years old, yearns for a chance at his 5th Super Bowl and a possible championship. In the NFL's 2nd season, the losers head to the NFL graveyard, while the winners move on with their sights firmly set on the Vince Lombardi Trophy. It all begins today with the continuation of a classic NFL rivalry as the Dolphins and the Bills meet. It's an AFC wildcard playoff on ABC.
Catch all the hits, the bangs, and the blocks. Now it all comes down to do or die. One team lives, the other says bye-bye. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. It's time to kick off this wild card fight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A postseason party? Yeah, this is a coming on, that's right.
For all who dare enter here after December 21st, this is the NFL's version of the Winter Slaughterhouse. Rich Stadium, Orchard Park in New York. You want records? The Bills are 8-0 in playoff games here under Marv Levy. You want another statistic? They marched to 3 of their 4 Super Bowls through here, and combined, John Elway and Joe Montana, didn't throw a single touchdown pass in those AFC title games. It's an AFC wild card matchup. It's the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, a rematch of a great game played here 2 weeks ago. Welcome, everybody, with Dick Vermeil. I'm Brent Musburger. Dick, we came to town. Huge changes with the Buffalo defense.
Playing much better all season, and you have to credit John Butler, the general manager here. He brought in free agents, 3 of them in the offseason. They all made a contribution, not only in performance, but in character and leadership as well. Bryce Pop, NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 17.5 sacks. Ted Washington, nose guard starter. Jim Jeffcoat, 13-year veteran out of Dallas, playing like a rookie. And they haven't turned the ball over as much on offense.
But if you wanted to win here, you'd come with a quarterback who handled bad weather at Pittsburgh, Dan Marino.
Nothing bothers Dan Marino, but other than a pass rush. And for Dan to quarterback a win today, the offensive line's going to have to do a better job. Brent, they're starting 2 rookies on the right side, and that is a problem, and they can solve some of those problems. They're starting 2 all-pros on the left side. But in my opinion, and watching Richmond Webb and Keith Sims over the last 3 game tapes, they're not playing like all-pros, and they're going to have to step it up today if Dan Marino's going to have a big game.
Down we go to the 3rd member of our team, Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Brent, the winds down here are gusting up to 20 miles an hour, and that's bad news for everyone. The Dolphin punter, John Kidd, who of course used to play with the Bills, said the worst part is in the north right corner of the end zone. He said he told his Dolphin teammates that Jim Kelly will not even throw there in a strong wind, and they should be aware of that. Well, as for injuries for the Dolphins, J.B. Brown will not start, although he will come in as a nickel cornerback, and that is critical because the Bills finally have a healthy Andre Reed. Brent?
Leslie, thank you very much as we get ready here for the Bills and the Dolphins, the playoffs beginning, the 2nd game of our doubleheader here today on ABC, of course, down in Philadelphia. But we'll move to the NFC. The Detroit Lions, the hottest team in the league, going into that one. And here, Steve Christie getting ready to kick it off for the Bills and get started as Dan Marino and the Dolphins will have the ball with the first possession. Yesterday they were practicing kicking the ball to Spikes and keeping it out of McDuffie's hands. We'll see if Christie does that here. McDuffie is now moving over toward the center of the field, and now he is signaling Spikes exactly what he wants done on the return. Wind is going to be a factor here all game long, as Leslie told you. May play a very important role in the outcome of this game. Snow is not forecast. It is not a miserable day as far as weather is concerned. Perhaps about the same as 2 weeks ago, although the players on the field were saying that the wind appears to be gusting just a little bit more than it did that day. That game, of course, won by the Bills 23-20. The ball rolls down to the 7-yard line, and that allows the special teams bring him down at the 15-yard line, led by Chris Green. And here he comes, the man who broke all the records this year, Dan Marino. 24 touchdown passes and 15 interceptions. Key members of his offensive unit: Irving Fryer could be his go-to guy, or O.J. McDuffie. Eric Green needs to be productive. Parmalee and Byers will open up in the I formation. You can see Byers set in front of Parmalee. Parmalee and the Dolphins have come to run, and there is nothing doing on first down. Now, Dick Vermeil told you about the offensive line, and let's take you inside this line right now. You can see Webb and Sims over there on the left. But look at the 2 rookies over on the right side. They have to step up today. Green and Milner. Tim Ruddy anchoring the line at the center spot. So they come up to the line now with 2nd down and long for Marino. And the rookies, of course, have to exchange a lot of information. Marino changes so many plays at the line. They have to know all the calls. And there goes. Ball is on the ground. Incomplete. The official rules incomplete. You could see him coming right into your picture. There was never a doubt about that one. Now the defense that Dick told you about. Phil Hansen. He's the underrated one up front. And you've got the future Hall of Famer Bruce Smith over on the right side. Bryce Pop, who made such a difference here in the 3-4. Cornelius Bennett, an impact player. Marlon Kerner at left corner is going to be tested. When I was with the Dolphins earlier this week, they threw almost everything deep against the left cornerback. Now it is 3rd down and 9 for Marino from the shotgun. Penalty flag. Incomplete, but there is a penalty on the play. Red Cashin, the veteran, is your referee today. Here's Cashin's crew. John Keck is the umpire. This has been a penalty called much more frequently this year. Goes against Marv Levy's defensive unit. Missed 3 games this year, as you're well aware. What a tremendous job he has done here as coach. So because of the penalty, instead of being forced to punt deep in their own territory, it's now 3rd and 5. Now another thing that's a huge factor for the offensive line is the crowd noise being made in here and generated. Complete on a beautiful hit by Fimmel Johnson.
They rolled up into a double zone, and the corner was just sitting outside waiting for that breaking pattern. Miami came in here wanting to run. Buffalo defense came in here wanting to shut down the run and push the responsibility for Miami moving the ball all on Dan Marino's shoulder because they believe they can put pressure on him with 3rd down 4 and every once in a while a 5th rusher.
Well, here it is now. John Kidd with his former Northwestern roommate Steve Tasker set to return this, and Tasker's going to let it go. And it is out of bounds. Now Red Cashin, the referee, marking where this punt went out of bounds. And it'll come at the 40 after a 36-yard punt with the wind, and the veteran Jim Kelly brings the offense out to the line. 22 touchdown passes and 13 interceptions on the year for Jim. The rookie Derek Holmes, but Thurman Thomas, can he be as successful as he was 2 weeks ago behind this offensive line? Folks, focus in on that center, Kent Hull. He was the center in all 4 of the Bills' Super Bowl appearances. They are a veteran team down the middle. You look at the eyes of Thurman Thomas, that deep eye, so he can see the defense. And Kelly, protected, throws, completes the first pass for a good 9 yards against Vincent, who's a dandy of a cornerback on that side. Defensively, Tim Bowens is the man to watch. Can he create some mayhem up front, as he did last year as a rookie? And going without the huddle, and of course Jim Kelly frequently gets into the rhythm, calls his own plays. Otherwise he'll look over to the sideline and Coach Garrett will offer advice. And here's the man we expect to see, Thomas, squirting through for a 1st down. And folks, if the Dolphins cannot stop Thurman Thomas, it's going to be a long day for Miami.
In their 1 win, he ran for 145 yards against them this year, Brent.
Brian Cox has to step up big. Dwight Hollier gets taken out when they go to a nickel situation. Now, big change here is the fact that Terrell Buckley steps in again, replacing the injured Brown at that 1 corner. So a 1st down for the Bills. And immediately this time, Thomas is cut off and nothing doing. Cross was down there at the bottom of that pile.
Tom Olivari, the defensive coordinator, told me they normally play an over defense against Buffalo, and what they're going to do is show a defense and stem it back the different side, Brent, because they call an audible, then they give them something they can't run against.
Well, Dick, here we are now, 2nd down and long, and Kelly up under center for this pass, with Thomas blocking for him, goes left side, and he has got Tasker.
See, when you're throwing the ball to Tasker, you're throwing the ball to a guy who really is a running back. A great special teams player, 7 times Pro Bowl selected as a special teams player. And they actually had to argue with Marv Levy to get the offensive team to take him off the special teams. He is so valuable. But he can run with the ball after the catch, Brent.
Dick, here's a 3rd and 2, one in which you would expect them to see if Thomas can get him one, but they go empty and send him in motion. And they throw for the first down this time. So they're going to save that 3rd and 2 run that was so critical of that earlier win, obviously, until later in the game. They will now get Bill Brooks into the game. So Brooks and Tasker have been receivers. Thurman has carried the ball, and the Bills are just mixing it up.
What they do is go empty, taking the running back Thurman as you see him coming to. Now he'll stretch the defense to the bottom of your screen. That'll open up a little area for Brooks to work in that 1-on-1. First down, move the chains.
Dick, this very efficient here so far, what they're doing. Patiently moving the ball, using a lot of different players. Now he goes to the play fake. Fires right side, got Tasker to the 2-yard line, and the Bills threaten on their first drive. And you just have to be impressed with the poise and the way Kelly is running things right now. That's a 27-yard gain.
You know, and play action was not a big part of this offense a year ago. They added the play action to it this year, and it has really helped them, especially on those early rundowns, Brent. That's a big throw, but the big throw, good protection because the fake run.
Gardner is the fullback. And busting across, that's Tim Bowens, 95, who came across.
He's quick, but too quick that time.
Before the snap, encroachment, number 95, half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Timmy Bowens is a guy that when he really sucks it up and wants to go hard, he can make a difference in that front. He tends to sometimes take a breather on snaps, Brent.
Tyndale's the motion fullback, leading Thurman Thomas, and the Bills are quickly on the board. Their first drive, they made it look easy against the Miami defense that time, ladies and gentlemen. Too easy.
Tim Tyndale, the wingback that time, going in motion, crossed the formation, and he came back and he wham blocked the defensive tackle coming from the left side of your screen right here. You'll see him go inside now and watch him block the tackle. Bang! He got a nice kick down block right there. There's the little crease that you needed for the touchdown. Good job by Tim Tyndale.
Seven, 0 like that. Christie adds the extra point. The Bills score first. I don't have to tell you what history says about the NFL playoffs. That's a huge advantage. McDuffie, he was not able to handle the ball on the kickoff, and you recall that Spikes had some difficulty back there with the return. We'll see if they show a stack or some sort of a return formation that would allow 81 to get his hands on the ball. Yesterday at the kicking practice, the Bills spent a good portion of the time trying to kick it away from where they thought McDuffie would be, lined up to Christie's left-hand side. Now McDuffie is showing him the other side, and Spikes does not indicate where he's going. Now they change sides, and Christie on the kickoff, and they drive McDuffie 3 yards deep, and he'll take a knee. It's coming out on the 20. So this AFC wildcard game is brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. Circuit City and Jeep, maker of the new Jeep Grand Cherokee. Dick, you have to be a little concerned about the offensive line. The youngsters down there are having difficulty picking up the changes by Marino because of the crowd.
There's no question that crowd knows it's going to be a factor all through this, Brent. He's in the shotgun already.
Inside handoff Byers. There was a crease over here on the Dolphins' left-hand side, and Byers ran into it. Now, in practice, Dick, the Dolphins were adamant. They said we must have some kind of running game. If we resort just to passing the ball, we're not going to get the job done.
True, and Gary Stevens, the coordinator, says we want to run at Bruce Smith with power withdraw just like they did that time, and then sweep outside. We've already seen the draw at it.
And of course, that gets that Pro Bowl side of their offensive line into a more aggressive mood. If you ask an NFL lineman, he wants to go on the attack sometimes. And now they come back for a yard to the inside, and Phil Hansen, number 90. What a wonderful story he is.
He is, and you said it already, Brent. You know, he's an underrated guy. On any other football team, he'd get more credit. He has 10 sacks, 18 quarterback hurries, but you don't hear about the guy. Visiting with him on the field the other day, he's a Dakota guy. $300 an acre he's paying for his farmland. Going to raise some cattle.
This is
$300 an area.
This is Bobby.
Where can you buy land for $300?
Dakota, South, North, Montana, Alberta. Come on out, Coach. We'll show you some. Hey, 3rd and 3 now, and the Dolphins need it.
Marino's the best there is at throwing on 3rd down.
Short drop, fires incomplete. Dolphins are forced to punt.
Chris Green did a real nice job of reaching around with his left hand and preventing that slant pattern. It was there. If he doesn't play it well, it's a completed pass. Marino back. He's going to be up underneath because he wants to throw a quick pass. There it is to the left side. Good job by Chris Green reaching around with that hand. 3 plays and out, 3 plays and out. Tough to win a football game playing offense like that.
So here is Kidd punting again. And this one is down at the 45. Now, don't think that he's just a terrible punter, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the worst places in the NFL in which to punt. Welcome to Buffalo. As far as Buffalo is concerned, there's public enemy number 1. Brian Cox will be a free agent at the end of this season, and you get mixed opinions when you ask NFL personnel directors about Cox. Some say overrated, others say a very, very talented inside linebacker. So we'll have to wait and see. And again, good field position for Jim Kelly. The Bills are up by 7.
See, Miami's in a 5 defensive back situation here. A little easier to run against that 5 defensive back.
And that's what they did, Dick, with Thurman Thomas. And look at this.
See, that counter action keeps the 2 inside linebackers, freezes them inside. Then he has the ability to bounce outside. Of course, they're getting some help with the guard and tackle from the backside.
Don Shula's been here before, winningest coach in history, but the man who has owned him is across the way. Marv Levy has more wins by far against Shula than any other coach. A long storied career of Don Shula. Deep drop, and here comes Thurman again, and this is what the Bills came to do. Bang bang, number 34.
Offensively on the left side, Reuben Brown, the big offensive left guard, did a beautiful job of coming off the ball right here in a 1-on-1 situation. He moved the force. Wham, and no help initially. Look at that block. Can't do it any better than that, Brent. Well done. He'll be a Pro Bowler someday.
5 carries, 30 yards. Coming right at you. You know, one of the things about the Bills against Miami, and certainly Dolphin fans and Bill fans know this, that in the past, whenever Marv Levy or Jim Kelly have found something that works against Shula, they never get off it. Levy will pound it, and so will Kelly. They will just say, come on, you got to stop this sooner or later. And if they don't, they'll just keep on going. Kelly now on that short drop, firing incomplete, and Tasker was extremely well covered that time by Troy Vincent, who's an outstanding cover corner.
Now Kelly calls all his plays, but he does get help from time to time from Jim Schaffner on the sideline, who is wearing the mic, and he talks to him. And when he needs help, he'll just look over and ask for the help. Otherwise, he's got it all programmed, all categorized, and he makes the calls.
So let's make this 3rd and 8 for the Bills. After Kelly's first incompletion of the game. Right down the middle, incomplete that time. Brooks intended, and Vincent again there on coverage. So Troy Vincent steps up in that defensive backfield and turns in a couple of fine plays.
Well, he was in tight man-to-man coverage, and crossing pattern like that is tough to cover, Brent. He did an awfully good job. Now, Cox they use as an outside defensive end. He runs a stunt back to the inside. He gets pressure, but not there in time. Still fooling around a little bit, isn't he? He's asking for trouble from this stadium, I'll tell you that.
So a 48-yard attempt with Tasker holding for Christie.
He's the leading kicker in playoff history in the National Football League, Brent, right there.
Nice to have the wind at your sails. Is a special teams MVP. Not only that long field goal, but consider his 2 kickoffs. One for a touchback. The other he put into Spike's hands. He bobbled it, and they buried him down at the 15-yard line. Let's see what happens now with the wind at his back. Finally, McDuffie. 20. Seam. McDuffie. Out to the 35. That's why they were kicking away from him, and that's why the Dolphins are determined to get the ball in his hands. Marlo Perry making the tackle for the Bills. Well, down 10 now, Dick, and you and I have talked about Shula growing impatient, having a great quarterback and starting to throw the ball. Will they resort to the pass, or will they continue to try to work on the run here?
I think they want to get the running game going. They don't want to be one-dimensional with Marino. They have too many problems in the offensive line to do that. They've got to run the ball well. That doesn't mean they won't throw on this first down.
They send Parmalee out as an additional wide receiver. Byers slips out 40. Byers out to the 47, and that is a first down on the start of this drive. Phenomenal advantage for home teams. You can see that the home team has won all 10 AFC wildcard games since they expanded the playoffs back in 1990. Overwhelming advantage. Now Parmalee moves back as the Dolphins running back, and they will bring him across midfield. How about the battle of the offensive line here, Dick, against the defense of Buffalo?
Well, right then, Brent, they got into 2 tight end formation, which forces you normally to balance up your defensive front, and then they go right at you and mush it. They didn't get any movement that time. Teddy Washington inside at the nose tackle would not be moved off the ball.
Bruce Smith with his duel against Richmond Webb. Bryce Pop, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. They're lined up and ready to go. Dolphins go empty. Quick pop. Green should have had it. And there's a penalty flag thrown on the play. Red was going to give us the offside. He said, wait,
let's have a discussion.
Hold it here. Maybe I got a better one.
Trouble with Red, he has no experience in this league. Look at that guy. He's a grizzled vet.
Before the snap, false start, number 86, no play, 5 yards, still second down. Will the timer please put?
Well, a reminder that ABC Sports will present a New Year's Eve blockbuster tomorrow. Big East champion Virginia Tech will take on Texas in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Coverage from the Superdome in New Orleans kicks off at 7 Eastern. We'll see how Virginia Tech and Texas make out in that one. Second down and 12. Marino standing back on his own 40. Has to step away. Gets it to Byers, and it's an incompleted pass.
Boy, Bruce Smith was in there. He was quick coming off the ball. In the last few games, this guy, and they say since the 49er game, Bruce Smith has taken his game to his all-pro level. Boy, did he come off the ball that time. He is so explosive out of his stance. Left side of your screen. Boom, he's right up underneath and a little inside move on Richmond Webb. Richmond's got to close on him and can't give him that inside gap.
As a result, 3rd and 12 facing Marino and the Dolphins. McDuffie was the motion receiver. They'll use the safety valve. They'll drop it to Kirby, an excellent receiver, but far short of the first down.
And Dan Marino gets knocked down again. You can only be knocked down so many times in a football game before you start throwing it erratically. Well, you start anticipating pressure, and it really throws you off as a quarterback. Even the great ones, Brent.
And again, that was Smith in there. So here comes John Kidd, who has played for both of these teams, and there's Steve Tasker's roommate from Northwestern days, Northwestern punter, Northwestern return man. And Tasker is going to let this one be downed inside the 5-yard line.
those Northwestern guys make mistakes too. For heaven's sakes, he should have fielded that ball.
Oh, mercy. 10-0 Buffalo.
Back at Rich Stadium where the Bills lead 10-0. Thurman Thomas told me this morning this is the best that he has felt in a year. He said his game plan today, he thought he wants to get more than 100 yards. He said his mother gave him the best advice, and that was stay away from that Brian Cox. Brent?
Leslie, thank you very much. He has done a little of that today, too. And now from the 1-yard line, Thomas out to the 4-yard line, a little breathing room for the offense.
What's so great about him, Brent, is in tight, intense areas, he can get through tiny cracks. Doesn't appear to be any room, and he'll find a little crack. Now, he gets a good backside block there. He finds it. Now, there's that little crack, but he had to move all the way back to the left side to find that hole.
2nd down and 6. Kelly runs him on a delay back there, and he slips through another seam out to the 11-yard line, and what could be a first down. Let's see. Now, it's a little short of it, I believe.
Well, Brian Cox blew that one. Brian Cox blitzed, came ran him.
No, they're not.
It ran right by him. Here he is right here in the middle of your screen. He's going to come up inside, and he's going to take it. He's going to go get him. Oh, he gets picked off right there by Reuben Brown. Nice job, number 79.
And they did get the first down. Move the chains. They come out to the shadow of the goalpost, and Cox will try to do a little bit better again to bring the end around. This was a hugely successful play when they bring him out of the slot. It really is part of their counter game, they were telling us yesterday, and not so much an end around.
No, it really isn't considered a reverse. They ran it 3 times in the last game and made 37 yards on it.
2nd and 6 at the 16.
Really a good kick-out job there by John Fina. Came all the way across the formation. They love that play.
Well, they have run it 6 times in one game against the Dolphins for 50 yards.
Right.
They made a living off that play. Now on 2nd down. And the defense not giving much on that side as Tim Bowens comes in underneath.
But on that specific kind of counter, from what the defensive coordinator Tom Alavali told me, that play there was run 3 times for 37. Now maybe he wants to reduce the amount of yards.
Well, I think they're pretty sensitive about that stat. Oh, by the way.
Yeah. But see, you run back to that side with that kind of play because the defensive linemen are overshifted to the tight end side of the formation.
3rd and 4.
There's Tom Bobby.
And now this time it is an end around, and it breaks wide open for Brooks. Billy Brooks on a wonderful delay on that side. No one had stayed at home. They couldn't conceive of the Bills bringing the reverse back from the other side this quickly. What a well-conceived play at the right time. The fake to Tasker, and here comes Brooks.
Amazing play. I lost it for a second myself, Brent. See, that play, that kind of play, full flow, they had success with it. Now they take that same action and run a reverse off that. Good coaching.
Derek Holmes, the rookie, checks into the backfield. Kelly just faking to him. Deep down the middle, and Tasker. Tasker was the key receiver on Kelly's initial touchdown drive, and he goes back to the veteran who is having the season of his life as a wide receiver as well as a special teams guy.
First 10 season, he caught 10 balls. Last 6 games, he had 15 balls, Brent. But again, that's play action. It's play action passing. It freezes the underneath people. They're in man-to-man coverage now. Crossing from the right side of your screen, he beats Calvin Jackson right there for the big play.
And there is Holmes, the rookie, jammed up. Stewart, the safety, in on that stop, along with Bowens, who's been very active in that defense. There's 35. And Michael Stewart starting at strong safety. But I would say so far, Dick, that Tim Bowens, number 95, has been the most active member of that defensive front for the...
He is in game tape, too, when you study him. He really has talent. Klingbeil is a load inside, but not a real mobile guy inside.
Steve Entman on the field with the rush, and the ball is dropped by Andre Reed. How often have you seen him drop that little crossing pattern that Kelly made a living off of? Andre missing, of course, 10 games this year with a pulled hamstring muscle.
There's big Steve Entman. First-round pick, Indianapolis Colts a number of years ago. Knee injury problems. Signed a 5-year contract to play for the Dolphins. Boy, he was a great college player prior to those injuries.
Kelly and the Bills facing 3rd and 9. Holmes stays in as his running back. Gonna try. And it'll break wide open. Fina, the lead blocker. Fina clears even more yardage, and Holmes to the 1. Woo! What a run!
What a story he is. 7th round draft choice. Picked 244th in the draft. And here he is running the draw. Back, they get it back to him real deep. Fina does a real good job on the right side of your screen. Number 70 is getting down. He used the flash technique to get the end upfield, then release downfield. Excellent running effort there by Derek Holmes. You got to give 2 scouts, Dave Smith and Bob Ryan, credit for locating that guy out of Portland State.
Gardner in front of Holmes off a play fake. They'll throw incomplete, and Lonnie Johnson was the intended receiver.
You know, they came into this ball game in 16 games, Brent, and did not score a rushing touchdown in those 16 games in the first quarter. And the first time they get the ball, they score on like a 1-yard run. But it took them 17 games to finally get it done. This offensive line is a very, very coached offensive line. They execute real well, both fundamentally and technically inside, Brent.
Gardner and Holmes in the backfield. Gardner, number 35. You saw him set up directly behind Kelly. Holmes will follow him. Nothing doing that time as Brian Cox makes the stop for the Dolphins.
He did a real good job of running through that time. I don't think it was a close blitz. I think he saw the gap and took the risk of getting there, and he got there. Real nice play by Brian Cox. See, he's giving signals. No, it's a called blitz. He's coming all the way. Does a nice job of flooring Glenn Parker, 74 there, and getting to the ball carrier. Really a good job. That's how an all-pro linebacker is supposed to play.
So the first quarter comes to an end. The Buffalo Bills dominating Olivadotti's defense. He's been under fire all season, and it has not ended here yet as the playoffs begin. Back with more after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Sunday at 11:30 on 7.
Storyline of the first quarter. Buffalo dominating offensively and defensively. They won the AFC East, and Marv Levy is well on his way toward a 9th straight home playoff win here in Rich Stadium. This drive continuing where it began, and Thurman Thomas has returned. He's in motion. Kelly rolling in that direction, firing, intercepted in the end zone. Picked off by Gene Atkins, the free safety. And Atkins out of bounds with a penalty flag flying at the 20. Kelly is furious with himself for that throw. That's the break the Dolphins needed.
Yeah, you know, an experienced quarterback, you never throw the ball late in the middle. They're sitting back there. He rolled out. Plus, that pulls the defense toward the flow of the quarterback. You don't see as well.
Now, Cox is up there helping Cashin and his crew officiate. And the face mask penalty going against the Bills on that play. So let's take a look at exactly what Dick was showing you, why this is a mistake on Kelly's part.
See, he's rolling. All right, now you'll see 28, left-hand corner of your screen. Gene Atkins just following the quarterback. Boom, he takes it out of there.
And Kelly's reaction afterwards. You know, I really wonder. At any rate, it is Miami's ball. Joe Paterno, listen up. This is why you wanted Jim Kelly as a linebacker and not a quarterback. They grab that face mask, extra 5 yards.
I've seen pro quarterbacks that won't even make an attempt to tackle the interceptor that they just threw it to.
But he made the mistake, and as a result, the Dolphins are alive. It would have been real tough digging out from a 17-zip hole early in the second. Now let's see if they can do anything with it. They fire complete, and it's O.J. McDuffie. Speaking of Joe Paterno, coming from the Nittany Lions of Penn State, he has been a very valuable performer as we take a look now at the first quarter numbers.
It can only be one thing. It can only be one way. I don't know if we even need the stats, Brent. It's got to be all Buffalo. Look at it. 1 first down, 10 first down, 10 rushing yards, total plays. Oh, my God. Total yards, 26, 181. Double the time of possession. No ball game.
Kelly has thrown 13 interceptions in his last 10 games against Miami. And as a result, 2nd down and 1 now with Green setting up on the right side, the tight end. Parmalee for the first down for the Dolphins.
That time they got outside, Bruce Smith used a crash charge. He was in down and on the outside shoulder of Sims, and he went underneath him, and they got that little crack to the outside. But this is what they've got to do. They've got to stay with their game plan to run the football. Don Shula told me they wanted to do that, and so did Gary Stevens. He said we must run the ball well. When we play well against Buffalo, we run the ball well. All-time Pro Bowl selection guy.
1st and 10 from the shotgun. And he's got McDuffie again.
See, get the ball in McDuffie's hands as often as you can, because so many times he converts it to a first down because he has that great running ability after the catch, Brent. He's always been able to do that. Great maneuverability, good quickness, and he's tough. Coming off on Marlon Kerner, 46. He sets up quickly. He gets the ball. Now he can make you miss. You better come to balance if you're going to tackle him, Kerner. And he did. Nice job. Good technique.
Marlon Kerner, the rookie from Ohio State, better get ready. The Dolphins are coming. They're going to test him over and over to see if he can hold up. Here it comes. McDuffie on the reverse. Kerner's not at home. And he is forced out of bounds at the 42-yard line.
That kind of action, you know, you get the split backs, which normally means run formation to the strong side, to the fullback. They ran that way, got full flow from the defense, broke the discipline on contained from the backside. Good reverse, 9-yard gain.
I have never watched a football practice in which an offense directed so much of its pregame attack at one spot as the Dolphins did in the direction of where Kerner is standing right now. 2nd down and 1 for Miami. Parmalee, another first down. And how quickly things can change when you're dealing with as many great athletes as there are in the National Football League.
They're starting to block people too, Brent. They got the big tight end over here coming down, the fullback kicking out, and they're bringing the backside guard through. Very well executed. It's the old power, old play. Those goes Byers, 41 kick out. There's the young Green, number 68, up in the hole, getting on the linebacker. That's how you move the ball. Block people.
First down, Dolphins at the Bills' 35. Fake by Marino, fires outside and incomplete.
You know what they don't do a lot of is play action out of the I formation. Most people that use I formation, Brent, as a running formation, use more play action than Miami does. And they're talking with the defensive coordinator, Wade Phillips for Buffalo. They were going to play I, run all the way. And if they get burned with play action, they're committing to the run.
2nd down and 10. McDuffie is in the slot to the left, and now Parmalee comes out as a wide receiver to the right for the Dolphins.
See, now that puts him on a strong safety, not a corner.
And they will run Byers, and Byers is well short of the first down. This AFC wildcard game is brought to you by the all-new Ford Taurus, a look you've never seen, a name you know well. IBM, solutions for a small planet. And Miller Lite, when you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. 3rd down and 7 for the Dolphins with Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, who has done, by all accounts, an outstanding job.
He's got 4 down linemen in there right now with a 6-pack defensive situation. They're bringing the inside backer.
And they get to him big time. Cornelius Bennett.
He should not be able to get, just as a 5th rusher, to get free at Marino. Look at Marino's pointing at right now. He's upset. He ought to be upset. A linebacker turned loose on a great quarterback right up inside. Something's wrong. Someone blew it, and Marino's upset.
Well, again, Dick, when you've got that right side and you've got two rookies over there, they don't know how to interchange and pass guys along.
It's a real problem.
It can be tough. One rookie you can sometimes protect and you can help him with veterans, but two of them, baby, you got them both out there alone. Now it's a 4th down for the Dolphins. Now Marino hanging tough, thrown high and incomplete. Gary Clark, the intended receiver, and it wasn't to be. The Bills take over.
Miami had a chance with that interception to regain momentum and get back in it. They gained a little momentum, but they didn't get it done. Jim Schaffner, the quarterback coach, and his great relationship with Jim Kelly. He says, basically, I let Jim do what he does best. He likes 3 receivers in the formation, and it allows him at all times to read the defense better. He knows where he's going. He calls his audibles better. Plus, Jim will not only call the play on the line of scrimmage, he will re-audible on the line of scrimmage. He'll call it twice. But great rapport between Schaffner and Kelly.
You can see the 3 wide receivers in that end zone shot. 1st down and 10, coming out to the 33-yard line. Thurman Thomas again, and Thomas off to a huge day. 1st down, and somebody goes flying over there on the Dolphins sideline. Look at that. He took the defensive coordinator out. Not only beat his defense, he then went and got the coordinator, and he KO'd him. I mean, now there's a running back.
Tom Olivadotti is a fine coach. What a nice person to visit with, too. And you know, he's confident. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to get done. But he needs the offense to help him today a little bit.
Wait a minute. He can't get knocked back on his heels like that. Okay. You got to get set. The running back's coming, man. You can't do that.
Boy, you're getting tough.
1st down at 10 now. And they bring you-know-who, Tasker, out of that slot around. And this time the Dolphins string it out very well. And it's a small game.
And it was Marco Coleman coming from the backside, making a great effort to run it down. They'd have slowed him up at all. Marco Coleman right there, number 90, a high effort, good, tough guy. Not the biggest defensive end in the National Football League, but a give it all he's got on every snap guy. And a pretty good pass rush. Pretty good. Sometimes as I watch him, it looks like he has problems on the great big offensive tackle. I can't see real well once he gets in that rush technique.
It's interesting. They're leaving Tasker in the slot, and they're keeping Andre Reed outside. Tasker coming through the formation, and now they will run Thomas to a huge hole. It's like stealing. Thurman Thomas to the 20-yard line.
That's the old counter play. That's freezing the inside backers where their counter play, and off they come. They bring the backside guard and tackle.
Well, that's what's next. The Detroit Lions and the Eagles, but let's go back to the Bills.
You'll see that they'll block down here, and they'll bring both these guys from the backside to get the blocks at the point of attack. Boom, good block down, good kick out, and quick enough to get through that hole and no one to fill because they sealed it off inside.
Team that runs best normally wins this shootout. And here is Holmes who replaced Thomas, and Holmes battling, Holmes coming back. Touchdown Buffalo. Where's the Miami defense?
Remember this, Jim Kelly calls all the plays. You know, a lot of quarterbacks would just as soon throw the ball when they're calling it. Not Jim Kelly. He loves the running game. Of course, when it's going well, it's a lot easier to call it, too.
The Buffalo Bills have rushed for 171 yards already. Christie adds the extra point. Thurman Thomas with 88 yards and 11 carries, and Holmes with a scintillating draw play here for another Bill touchdown.
What an advantage to have offensive linemen. They're extremely mobile, big guys that can run. Well executed play.
Record. Take a look at what Shula did against the Bills before Levy arrived, and since March, 16-5, including a couple of postseason wins. Only one other coach has won more games head-to-head against another coach. That was George Halas's 30 victories against Curly Lambeau. And now the Dolphins will try it again with McDuffie. McDuffie out to the 34-yard line, where they will put it in play. Already trailing 17-0. For second quarter with Dick Vermeil and Leslie Visser, I'm Brent Musburger. Buffalo dominated Miami 17-0. They beat them 2 weeks ago, 23-20. And the defense can only shake its head at what's going on out there.
They've got to try to get the ball downfield, get the big play out of that passing game. We're in the I formation. There's been run almost 100%.
Turner is pressing over here.
There's play action.
And he has to drop it off to Parmalee, and the middle was open. And very good recognition by Marino. Let's get on to Leslie.
Brent, you are right about saying that they are shaking their heads. The mood on the Dolphins sideline is one of being shell-shocked. They've given the Bills great field position every time except once, and that one time the Bills got down in scoring position. Moments ago, Keith Byers turned to one of his teammates and said, "What is happening, Brent?"
It's stunning. Not so much that the Bills are ahead, but it seems to me that with the playoffs beginning, the ease with which they've accomplished it. And remember, it could be worse. The Bills threw an interception in the end zone. Marino back to the middle of McDuffie, who has been a warrior all game long. You know, one of the things about O.J. McDuffie, it's always interesting to scouts. Well, maybe he's not fast enough for the NFL. He was always the key thing. He was always a football player at Penn State. He's like the great Chris Spielman. You'll see him later with Detroit. Yeah, he wasn't big enough and fast enough, but he was a football player. You know, you sometimes have to evaluate. Bryce Pop on this defense that we're watching right now. One of the reasons why Buffalo invested millions in him. He's a football player. And there he is, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. Well worth Ralph Wilson's millions this year. Coming, picked up by the back. Marino hit on the release. Jump ball, intercepted. Bills. And here they come again on the Marlo Perry interception.
Phil Hansen, number 90. Good football player, Brent. You pointed it out earlier. You said he's underrated. He proves it right there. Look, he likes that. Really a down-to-earth, hard-working, grunt type of football player. I tell you, I like him better when he plays in on a guard than when he plays outside on a tackle. Coming from the left side, number 90, he working hard. See, what he does is he keeps working harder than Andrew Green, 68, did at blocking him. Andrew Green, we ought to give him a ticket to this game. Marino ought to go over and find Andrews. Get after it. Watch, he's upset. Look at this. I can't believe it. What the hell is going on here, he says.
Or words to that effect. First and 10. Here comes Tasker off a fake. Kelly hit on the release, and Thomas was wide open. So what they're doing now, the wrinkle is the variation off of bringing Tasker on that little counter move out of the slot, faking, and Thomas broke wide open coming out of the. You talk about an offensive design, always something new from the Bills.
Coming off what they've been doing well. Now, Bresnahan, the offensive coordinator and line coach, told me they were going to run some wrinkles off things that they'd hurt Miami in the past with, and they're doing it. And so far, every one of them has worked. See, and when you control the line of scrimmage right now, like the offensive line for Buffalo is doing, you gain that great double level of confidence. Plus, it's so easy to call the plays for Kelly. Everything he's called, offensive line coming off the ball. Watch them nail right across the line of scrimmage. Just boom, boom, everyone moving. Great block inside dive by Kent Hall on the nose guard. Everybody doing their job.
2nd and 2. Kelly goes deep. Tasker got it! Touchdown, Buffalo!
You get a wide receiver on a safety. Now, Michael Stewart is a strong safety. Playing deep in man under with zone deep backed up. He gets him here. He's going to take him all the way. And he's beaten right away. Right, no safety help deep. Man all the way to the start. That's a mismatch. And Kelly read it all the way. He knew what he had, and he took it.
Tasker with 5 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Christie, perfect on the extra point. Right down Broadway. This is some licking being handed out by the Bills right now. Dick, trouble over there on the Miami sideline as Olivetti tries to explain to Shula what's happening defensively.
I think he's telling him we had a man underneath all the way, and we expected to get a safety back over there to, in that area to help out, and he didn't get there.
McDuffie takes it away from Spikes. McDuffie battles his way back to the 20-yard line. Well, let me tell you why the Dolphins just can't do it this year. Forget all these controversies, folks. Take a look at this. No team that lost a game to the Jets has ever gone on to win the Super Bowl at the end of that season. And that was, of course, one of the low points for the Dolphins when they lost. I believe it was a 1-pointer to the Jets. They were also beaten by New Orleans. But the thing that started their downfall might have been kicking away that 3-touchdown lead against Indianapolis when you talk to the players. Now Marino, can he rally the troops again in this hostile environment? Middle, Parmalee hangs on and out to the 28-yard line. So a reminder, Dick, coming up next, I'm going to ask you about your Philadelphia Eagles. Now the Detroit Lions have won 7 in a row, and the Eagles have got a pretty good defense. Can they hold up?
I don't think they'll be able to. I think they've gotten where they are because of a real good coaching job by Ray Rhodes and his coaching staff. They've played good defense, yes. They haven't defensed an offense as explosive as Detroit is right now. Nothing in the leg. But Ray's done a great job there.
So that's coming up next here on ABC. Now 2nd and 3. Marino to Byers for the Miami first down. Keith Byers out of Ohio State. I don't have to tell Buckeye fans, he always was a talented receiver.
He's the only running back to catch a pass in National Football in history. Right, 100 consecutive games. He's actually 129 consecutive. He just took over the number 5 spot as a receiver from my old guy, Harold Carmichael.
Big Harold.
In consecutive games.
Get that ball upstairs, or Harold will pull it.
Get it up there. He made it look pretty good at once.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody thought you were a good coach.
No, they were wrong.
First down at 10. Inside handoff to Byers, who will try to run it a little bit.
I'd run that draw over under Bruce Smith. That time he came upfield so hard, you could run the draw under him. It's tough the other way around.
Well, Bennett shaken up and off on the Buffalo sideline right now. See, he's trying to loosen it up after making that stop. Let's take a look at this.
Boom, down on that hard turf there. Hopefully it's not serious.
2nd down and 7, and Marino changing things up. And of course with the hand signals, because the wide receivers can't hear him on the outside. That's why he was pounding his fist. Smith has run off. Diving attempt there by Green, but incomplete.
What he saw was a 3 deep. What he saw was a 3 deep. He gave the signal he wanted the tight end seam and the wide receiver fade pattern and try to get it right up in the crease. He threw it properly. He just couldn't make the catch. But that's what he saw from a defensive standpoint.
You know, somebody who is noticeably absent from the Dolphin attack is number 80, Irving Fryer.
There's the ball right there in the middle of your screen.
It was coming out before he hit the turf.
Good call by the officials.
Irving Fryer noticeably absent. 4 wide receivers. Marino in trouble. Fires right side. Clark, ricochet, incomplete. Great coverage by Kurt Schultz, the strong safety. And Clark says it was too good. He's complaining back there that he was interfered with.
What's amazing, though, Brent, is under the pressure that Marino was under, how accurately he could throw that ball without the time. And what a beautiful release on that one. People all around him snap it. That's a hard ball to throw. Beautifully well done. See, he has no time. Person right in his face, and he throws it right where he has to. Good job of playing fast defense by Kurt Schultz, a strong safety.
4th down, Kidd's good. It's a fake. Here comes Kidd. First down and to the 40-yard line. Leave him in that back backfield. Let's run him a few times from scrimmage.
Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, comes up with a good call. Of course, that call has to go through Don Shula. And Don Shula will take risks when he has to take them. I've seen him do it in coaching against him in the past. He'll beat you if you're not sound in one phase of your game. He'll find where you're not sound. The left side here, he's going to run it. He goes right up underneath there. The rush comes inside. There's no one there. That's why it's in the game plan. That's why he felt he could call it in that field position. Good coaching.
Big 18-yard run by John Kidd, a former Buffalo punter, now in Miami. And the Dolphins have a first down. They trail it by 24. Here comes the reverse. McDuffie's going to throw it. McDuffie deep down the middle. Incomplete, and that was Irving Fryer at the 5-yard line. Appeared to hesitate and not run through it a little bit. Maybe the ball was hanging.
I wonder how his passing technique was.
Well, coming up at halftime, Robin Roberts will be along with Dave Wanstead. Coach of the Bears, Marcus Allen. Aren't the Chiefs making a run at the Super Bowl? Troy Aikman. Talk to the Dallas quarterback and preview the game next. Coming up next, the Lions and the Eagles. So Pop and the Bill defenders get ready. See the second down now and 10. Dropped by McDuffie.
See, they're taking the back out of the backfield and spreading that 3 deep and giving them 4 nice seams to work in. Threw it correctly, just couldn't make the catch.
You know, Randall Hill, who probably is as fast as any of the Miami receivers, if that's the quickest of the bunch, he's going to come out here to the right side, to the corner side. They've just brought him in off the bench.
Chances are they won't single him up. They're pressuring him right now.
Marino running in that direction. Smith pursuing, and Marino feeling it, and it's incomplete.
Marlon Kerner did a nice job on that. He was the underneath coverage guy, Brent. He stayed with the discipline of the defense. Here he is, just a 3-year veteran, hasn't been starting due to injuries to Jeff Burris. He's starting at that left corner position. That's a tough job against people like Randall Hill. He was the 2nd fastest man in the National Football League a few years ago. He can fly.
Well, you look at the scoreboard and you know that Kerner is holding up. There's a big goose egg up there for the Dolphins. Now 4th and 10. And he puts it in Kirby's hands. Kirby battling, reaching, extending. Did they spot it for a first down? Let's see where they put it.
Kirby did a real nice job there. You know what? You could see he has a lot of shake and break. He really is the receiver out of the backfield that they like to get the ball to. Caught 66 balls coming into the football game. You can throw it in front of the linebackers with him, and he can make the linebackers miss.
Yeah, Cash is sorting them out on this measurement here. You get the chain gang out there.
When you got a lead like this from a defensive standpoint, you can really play more cautiously defensively. What they're doing now is playing a lot of 2 deep, either man underneath or zone, but they've always got 2 deep safeties, and then they change it up and go with 3 deep. Let's see what they get here.
Buffalo.
You saw that shot of Shula. The one thing about the number of years he has coached, can never be something happen in a ball game that he hasn't seen happen before. You know, he's experienced everything. Here's Kirby coming out of the backfield now. He's just a little check down move. Now, good shake and break. See, he can make you miss. I thought he got the first down. Bennett was on him right there. He reached out with the ball, but see, he was down prior to getting that ball down. Good placement by the officials.
So Kelly and the Bills leading it by 24. Tasker, who has been one of the stars in motion. Here's another one of their celebrities today, Thurman Thomas. Boy, did 2 better running backs ever come out of one school in quick succession like Thurman Thomas and Barry Sanders.
Unbelievable pair. But what is demonstrated here, watch Big Ben Parker. Now, they do other things within the offensive line. Follow a 310-pound agile offensive lineman. Watch this. Hops over the top. Boom! gets a nice block, stays on his feet. He loves to play football, and he's well coached.
That's 107 yards here in the first half for Thurman. And what's most impressive about it is the fact that the Dolphins had to know he was coming. When you look back at the recent history of this great rivalry, this man, number 34, has been extremely prominent in the Bills' victories. When they start to move the ball on the ground and dominate this Miami defense, as they have recently, he's the reason why, with some good, powerful blocking up front. They have rushed, the Bills have today, for 194 yards. And did you see that quick, elusive move? They had him trapped for a loss, and he got away.
Who else does that? The person you just mentioned, Barry Sanders. Does the same thing. You got him trapped. Two guys got him, you know, sandwiched inside, and they both miss him. Now, he'll probably take himself out. The coaches do not substitute him in and out of the ballgame. He takes himself in and out of the ballgame. And he said today that he wanted to go because he felt so good, as Leslie Visser said early in the broadcast. He really felt good. But when you see Derek Holmes come in, the coach didn't send him in. Coach Thurman sent him in.
Now Kelly off a fake to Thurman, rolling left, got it, first down.
You know, and actually he had a deep receiver open that time. Billy Brooks was down the sideline against that double zone. The safety didn't see him and rotate over, and he was standing on the sideline waving his hand at Kelly. Hey, I'm open, throw it to me.
So Tony Klein gives the Bills another first down as we reach the 2-minute warning of the first half. Well, Thomas and the Bills dominating by 24 points. That's the kind of workday he's having. Take a look, a long look at the average. 7.5 yards a crack. I mean, great backs rush for 3.2 in the NFL, it seems, these days. You know the number.
His best game was against Miami this year at 148 yards. It looks like he's going to surpass it.
We've got to go back and figure out what he's accomplished in 3 weeks against this defense. He's had a career against it. It's first down now for Kelly. And back comes Thurman, and this time he is jammed up at the point of attack. Cox was in there helping out that time, along with Klingbeil, the nose man.
He's a load inside watching him play. I mean, he can take an offensive lineman and stuff him at the point. Now, he isn't going to sprint sideline to sideline, but within 5 yards of either side of him, he can make the play.
The second interception against Kelly today for the Dolphins, but they have nothing to show for it, and this is as good as burying a punt with 125 down there.
They were man-to-man coverage all the way with a free safety, and he was going for it. He tries to look the safety off. See, he's looking right now. He comes back to the left. Now, Gene Atkins got a jump on it. He didn't get there. He didn't have to. Right there, you would like your wide receiver, Billy Brooks, number 80, to prevent the interception. He should be able to prevent that guy from catching the football.
Minute 25 to go, down by 24, and Tasker limping on the Bills sideline as we approach the halftime intermission.
Those Northwestern guys not real tough, huh, Mus Baker?
He don't see San Jose State on a Rose Bowl. 24-0 Buffalo with the lead, and Miami attempting to do something here in the last minute and a half. Marino getting it into Kirby's hands, and Kirby to secure him. Well, tomorrow afternoon on ABC Sports, you're going to see the conclusion of the Anderson Consulting World Championship. Might want to tune over there and see who can win the $1 million. That's what's on the table tomorrow, live 2 Eastern time on ABC. Now that's some big bucks. Snaps it off to Clark, and Clark battling for a first down, has it.
You know who did a nice job that time? Billy Miller did a real nice job, that rookie right tackle. Bryce Pop tried to take him inside, and he set properly, used good technique, and gave him time to throw that completed pass.
Well, let's go to New York, check with Robin Roberts, and see what's up at halftime. Robin.
All right, Brent, coming up on the Lexus Halftime Report, I'll be joined again by Dave and Marcus, get their thoughts on the first half. We'll also chat with Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman, and we'll hear from the three amigos, Al, Frank, and Dan. They'll preview our second game between the Lions and Eagles. That's all coming up on the Lexus Halftime Report. Back now to Brent in Buffalo.
Thank you, Robin. 24-0 here with the Bills leading the Dolphins, and inside of 1 minute to play in the first half. And again, Marv Levy and his creative coaching staff have done a job. You know, as we look back on what the Bills accomplished in the 90s, do you remember that period when we were all making jokes and saying, oh, we don't want the Bills back in the Super Bowl, keep them out, keep them out? I think that's all changed. I think now the country appreciates what this blue-collar team has accomplished up here. Guys like Bruce Smith and the rest of these veterans have hung together, and if they get on another roll, and remember, if they win, they'd have a tough assignment. They got to go into Pittsburgh. But it's my feeling that the football community just now is starting to appreciate what it was to reach the Super Bowl 4 consecutive years. That was an awesome feat. 1st and 10 now with Marino back in the shotgun. Snaps it off to McDuffie, and McDuffie running underneath, and of course the Bills pulling back their coverage, and that underneath man is going to be there as the time continues to tick away on the Dolphins.
See what they did? They showed it 2 deep and then moved it to a 4 deep, 4 quarters across the field, so he just threw the ball underneath. They're getting off too quick. That must be offside.
Yeah, it is. And Marino will take, and he'll take this play anyway, as Clark is down to the 41-yard line with 23 seconds.
Bruce Smith was getting off too quick.
Yeah, Marino already has done. We declined it. Yeah. So, Danny, go up there and call the play, partner. Let's go. Get him up there.
Offside. Number 78 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Touchdown!
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Touchdown! That way, Red, baby.
I've heard old Red say some things I didn't like to hear from time to time on the sideline years ago. Like, shut up, Vermeil.
Last time I heard that, it was your lovely wife, Carol. In the middle, and almost intercepted by Cornelius.
Really good pass coverage by the big, strong inside linebacker. They tried to hit the crossing pattern behind him. He was reading zone. He read the quarterback's eyes and moved with the quarterback, and therefore he got where he was throwing the ball. What a gifted football player. 5 Pro Bowls.
You know, Dick, one of the things we learned, speaking of that, with these guys, they really enjoy living and playing here. You know, Buffalo's a very tight-room community, and everybody rallies around you. You can get home rather quickly. You can be with the family. It's a very wonderful environment in here with a great facility. Now Marino gets coverage, snaps it off, and Clark is well defended at the 35. Kenny Urban.
See, they were sitting back in the zone. They went 3 deep. They rushed 4, and then they had 4 underneath in those quarter zones, and hard to get it in there. They were just sitting there waiting for him to throw that ball. You know, you were talking about the attitude of these players. Marv Levy doesn't keep anybody that doesn't have character. Therefore, they're a very close-knit group, and he does a great job of presenting a squad to a coaching staff in the frame of mind to be coached.
Third down. Kirby will try to cut back, and he was slowed up by Urban and could not break free. Urban then got help, and time is called with 5 seconds remaining. And a reminder of what's coming up next here, the second game of our NFL playoff doubleheader. The Detroit Lions against the Philadelphia Eagles. Can you believe the way Mitchell has stepped up as the Detroit quarterback? And you think there's a good reason why?
Well, guys, you know, it's the first time they've had a quarterback coach. And Landry going there, Greg Landry, the former player there, and I think he's had to make a real good contribution to that guy. I've been around Scott Mitchell in the World League. Remember our World League in Orlando Thunder, and got to know him there, and he's a very much a student of the football game, and if you're with the right coach, he's going to make him better. And you know, he was a former Miami Dolphin, and Greg Landry, I think, has got to be given credit for making the difference in that guy's career.
Well, Pete Stoyanovich will attempt a long field goal here with the wind at his back in an effort to get the Dolphins on the scoreboard before the end of the half. Just to start digging out from that 24-point hole. 53-yarder for Stoyanovich, with Kidd the punter holding.
His long this year is 51, but his career long is 59. He's got the kind of leg.
He needs it to hook just a little bit, and it did not. He couldn't get enough hook spin on it. Well, we'll be back with the Lexus halftime report after a word from the NFL and our ABC stations.
Brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of relentless pursuit of perfection. From our New York studios, Robin Roberts.
And back with Dave Wannstedt and Marcus Allen. 24-0 at the half, guys. What's surprising the most, Coach?
Well, I think what happened to Miami is their worst nightmare. They got behind, they have to throw the ball, and now, you know, the inexperience in the offensive line showing up.
Marcus, psychologically, are the Bills just dominating?
Well, I guess they may have their number. I mean, this team hasn't played well against the Bills, and the Bills are, I mean, at the line of scrimmage, they're clearly dominating the game.
Yeah, and Thurman Thomas is again benefiting. He has 113 yards at the half. Earlier, we spoke with Troy Aikman, a key figure in these playoffs. Of course, Dallas, the top seed in the NFC, so it's a bye week for them. We asked Troy about our upcoming game between the Lions and Eagles.
Well, I think it's going to be an outstanding ball game. I think Detroit's playing exceptionally well. Philly is playing well, although they lost the last game of this season against Chicago. I think it'll be a hard-fought, close ball game. It'll be interesting to see how well Detroit can play outside in the cold in Philadelphia.
Hey, Troy, there's been a lot of controversy about the last time you guys played the Eagles, obviously the fourth down call. Have you guys been able to put that behind you?
Yeah, we've put it behind us. It was a loss. It was a tough loss for our football team, but certainly no one else put it behind them. But the people within this organization and the players and coaches, we move forward. And so there's no controversy within this organization as far as that game went.
Troy, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, you know, as far as preparation for the playoffs, you know, last year, obviously, you come up short in a playoff game. Are you doing anything as a team differently this year in preparation from last year, or even, you know, differently from 2 years ago from a team standpoint?
Not too much differently. This week, with it being our bye week, we worked more on conditioning than what we have in previous years or during previous bye weeks. I think that's been helpful. I think that it's been a time at this time of year where you want to have the guys in the best physical condition that they can be in. Also, we've tried to rest some of those players that are injured. So that's about the only difference, and the only difference in approach that we've had this bye week as opposed to other times in other playoff years.
And Troy, you mentioned injured players. How's Jay Novacek? I know you said you just worked out with him a short time ago.
Yeah, he's coming along. He is walking around. You would not know that he has actually had the surgery, but as far as running and doing the cutting that's necessary at his position, it's day to day, and we won't know until next week.
All right, Troy. Again, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
And, Coach, you're wearing a Super Bowl ring that you won with the Cowboys. Is that a happy camp?
Well, I think there's a lot more character to those players at Dallas than what anybody's giving them credit for.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. When the Lexus halftime report continues, we'll join Al, Frank, and Dan at the Vet.
Michaels in Philadelphia coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern time, the NFC wild card game, the Detroit Lions against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Lions finished the regular season winning their last 7 games, mainly thanks to an offense that wound up ranked #1 in the National Football League. The reputation of the NFC's Central Division was established in the pre-dome days. The mud and the cold and breath you could see often translated to low-scoring defensive struggles. Today it's turned 180 degrees, mainly because of the Detroit Lions and 4 men with distinct and disparate personalities. This is a team that averaged 27 points per game during the regular season.
Non-stop talking. Think of Pulp Fiction. Think of Herman. He's always quoting.
No comment.
Give me the baller.
Give me the ball. Barry Sanders, running man. Different.
Unbelievable.
Weird.
Easy going.
Through 9 games this season, the Lions were 3-6, but now they're making winning look easy. All it took was a quarterback who passed for more than 4,300 yards, a running back who ran for 1,500, and a pair of brilliant receivers. It used to be Barry Sanders or bust, but not now.
Teams can no longer just focus on our running game, and you know, they saw very early that they had to respect Herman and Brett, and that Scott could deliver the ball.
But could Mitchell hold up in the long run as great Scott? He'd been a backup in Miami and had played in the World League before heading to Motown and signing an $11 million deal. Last year was one to forget amid the intense pressure to produce.
I came here and there were a lot of expectations placed on me, and they wanted to see results immediately. It just doesn't happen overnight. I've just taken the approach that I don't have to win games by myself. I've tried to get everybody involved.
The offense this year is played with a tremendous amount of confidence, more so than in the past. We actually believe in what we're doing. Players are playing like we know we can win. That's it. It's the bottom line.
Frank, you look at this team over the last 2 months, they've been putting on an offensive clinic.
Well, so much has been made of their offense, Alan, rightfully so, that it's kind of lost on the people how they're playing such great defense. Through the 9th game of the season, they started making subtle changes defensively, and they have given up only 34 points in their last 4 games. They are playing good, solid defense, Dan. Kind of makes you wonder, should Philadelphia show up?
Oh, I think Ray Rhodes will have his club here today. And when you look at this Eagle team, though, guys, it's not going to happen unless their defensive line, I think, plays the best game that they have played all year. Now, Harmon and Fuller have been getting it done all season long on the one side. The guy who's really on the spot today is Mike Mamula, their #1 draft choice, playing across from Lomas Brown. If he gets lit up, I think the Eagles are in trouble.
Each team with a mark of 10-6. That's the NFC wild card game coming up in less than 2 hours. Halftime in Buffalo. We'll send you back to Rich Stadium after this.
We are back at halftime. The Bills dominating the Dolphins 24-0. And with Dick Vermeil, we went down and were introduced to Wayne Huizenga, the owner of the Dolphins. Tell me what you found in the mood in that owner's box.
I was shocked that he was so calm and relaxed and fully together with himself. You know, most owners that I've been around in that situation, they're livid when they're behind at halftime.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you had a couple of billion, you'd be calm too. You know,
yeah, well, I have almost that much.
He's a pretty good businessman, you know. But again, at the top of the broadcast, we told you that Don Shula will be back next year as Wayne Huizenga's head coach. However, there could be some changes with the assistants and the players after the season, but Don Shula will be in on those decisions. So Stoyanovich will put it in play here to start the second half, and the whistle, no kick. They're going to bring this one back. So while we have a moment, let's check in with Leslie Visser. Leslie?
Brent, the theme in the Dolphins locker room was one of discouragement. Don Shula said going off the field, he said, I am angry, I am frustrated. We knew coming in that we had to stop Thurman Thomas on defense. We haven't been able to do it. On offense, we're not giving Dan Marino enough time. Marv Levy told his people, this is how you beat the Dolphins. Keep it up. Brent?
Thank you, Leslie. And the reason for the re-kick, Brett Cashin had not come onto the field of play yet. So without the referee, they were down there making sure that the batteries would hold up here in the second half for you at home to listen to what's unfolding down there on the field. So we'll have a duo.
Red's batteries or the microphone batteries? I tell you,
I would tell him you said that.
He's been doing it a long time, and no one does it much better, I'll tell you that.
Derek Holmes, the rookie. Long looking run out to the 33-yard line where Jim Kelly and the Bills will put it in play. The numbers just emphasize and underline the score right now.
No question. I mean, being dominated totally. Look at the rushing yards there by Buffalo, 197 to 52. When do you see a football team minus 1.5 and leading 24-0? You know, just total domination. I think Miami has to get out of the nickel defense and run down situations and put the third linebacker in the ball game and say, listen, I'm going to stop your run, beat me throwing.
Because you know the Bills will attempt to run again if moving the clock is important. That's a turnover. There it is. That's the fumble. He put it down on the first play, and the Bills pounce on it. So the first break goes Buffalo's way. And somebody is hurt. They were waving for the medical staff of the Bills to get out onto the field.
1 yard gain. It'll be 2nd and 9.
So while attention is being given to player, we'll take a break and come right back. By Thurman Thomas. Big John Fina, number 70, gets over on the loose ball. There's an injury. An umpire goes down into the pile. That's Keck. It is some scramble, Coach.
Yeah, it was. And that kind of injury, when someone comes in down from the backside on your leg like that, can be tough.
So Lonnie Johnson, the tight end, is out. Steve Tasker is out with the hamstring. And Thomas just takes matters into his own hands and runs it to the 44-yard line. Now here's the injury to Johnson again, the tight end. Now watch Cox. He appears to have him engaged.
Standing to the left side, 84.
And 8 yards.
See, and he gets that right leg caught underneath him like that and bent over backwards.
And Lonnie putting on his parka over here on the Buffalo sideline as the officials measure that last run by Thurman. Leave them with a first down.
Tony Klein will come in. He's a rookie from Stanford, a 4th-round draft choice. They really like him. You football fans might recognize the name. His dad, Tony Sr., played 7 years with the Raiders, a couple years with the 49ers as a defensive lineman.
Andre Reed well out to the right. And now without Tasker, Brooks is the motion man. Thomas again crosses midfield, slams across the 45. And the Dolphins again back on their heels.
They're getting great angle blocking down, then pulling a lineman from the backside and kicking out and creating those seams right up inside. Look at this, 7 plays, touchdown, 6 plays, field goal. Go all the way down to the 1 yard line and throw an interception, touchdown, touchdown. Can't do it much better than that.
1st and 10 for Kelly and the Bills. And Thomas now with about 140 yards on the game already. This AFC wildcard game brought to you by Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car. And Bud Light, official sponsor of the 1996 U.S. Olympic team. Make it a Bud Light. Derek Holmes into the Buffalo backfield. What impresses you about Holmes, Dick, is the power with which he runs.
Yeah, and he has the good wide base, so he can cut either way as well. Now here comes Brooks. The counter again.
Brooks across the 35-yard line. It is amazing, Dick, how well they make this play work against the Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins play a defensive front that is consistently used all through down and distance situations. They know where the people are, and they're blocking accordingly. I'll be surprised if they don't change the fronts a little bit more.
Many of you remember that game. It was blacked out on television that day here in Buffalo. That is a sprained right knee for Johnson, we are told.
They change the front up inside this time, Brent.
And Holmes battling his way toward the first down, and Shula showing his displeasure with what's happening.
Yes, it was 3rd down and not real short, but see, now they're taking the gaps here. They're putting people down inside like that to stop those inside runs. A little hard to find a crease when you're inside there like that. And Coleman, then Cox comes down from the outside, number 51. They're coming with a blitz there.
And Holmes steps away to the 32-yard line, and Chuck Klingbeil.
See, they play 5 defensive backs rather than the 3 linebackers against Buffalo because of the 3 wide receiver set. Now, if Kelly came up and they saw them in a 3 linebacker, 4 defensive back set, then he would probably audible pass. But I think it's a pretty good option because they have not stopped them from running the football. The other linebacker will help. You know, there's always a chance that Kelly might throw it incomplete.
You know what's interesting about this series? Starting with a 24-point lead, they quickly run 4 minutes off the clock, keeping 7 plays on the ground. Chris Singleton.
Former University of Arizona linebacker, top pick at New England, played 26 games at New England, had 26 games at Miami, considered a good football player. Had a knee injury last year.
You know, Dick, I was mistaken a moment ago. I was saying that the game was blacked out. The one I was thinking about was this one. When the Bills were down 35-3, Reich replaced Kelly and led him back in an unforgettable game. Now they wait for the end around to develop, and Russell Copeland getting the carry and being run out by Michael Stewart. And Stewart with a few words to Copeland over there on the Dolphins sideline.
The other thing, there was good defensive end penetration over there by Jeff Cross. He got upfield and made the play bow back toward their own end zone, and that helped everybody else get there. And like you said, Michael Stewart then got over there, good discipline, remained in his field position responsibility and made the play.
Crowd very quiet. In command, feeling comfortable.
Nice tackle.
Brian Cox.
Nice tackle. Not easy to tackle that guy on a draw play up in the hole like that. Brian Cox did a real nice job.
It's 4th and 11.
You have to wonder about him. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year. He'll be demanding big dollars. The Dolphins will have to consider his value to the team.
Right.
There are some other clubs like I suppose back in St. Louis. He came out of East St. Louis. Maybe even Dave Wanstead in Chicago would be interested in a middle linebacker like Cox. There'll be a market.
Depends if you want a guy at Spitz or not.
Chris Moore. And now watch Red Cashin mark this. When a ball is out of bounds, you see he's looking right at the referee. There he is, making the mark as to where the ball is. You always thought that guy down underneath the ball doing that, but it never is when a ball's punted out of bounds. Good job, Red. A look at the first half possessions as the Dolphins come up empty, trailing 24-0 at the half, and that's where they stand right now. They attempted a long field goal in the closing minutes of the first half, just in an effort to get something on the board. Now they will bring it out. 1st and 10, but already the clock down to 9.5 minutes here in the 3rd quarter. Byers busts free and runs well for about 10 yards with Matt Darby making the stop. So a reminder of what's ahead of you here on ABC. The Nokia Sugar Bowl tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, Virginia Tech and Texas. Then Dick, you and I will be down in Orlando for the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl, Ohio State and Tennessee. Dick, that should be one of the better bowl matchups. And I don't say that just because you and I are heading there.
Well, I think it will be. We know Ohio State so well. We've seen them so many times this year. And watching Tennessee in preparation to do the broadcast the day after tomorrow, you can see that they're extremely talented, Brent.
I always wanted to say this. And then the Rose Bowl. Keith Jackson in Pasadena. The Northwestern Wildcats against the Trojans of USC. What a wonderful job by those players. Darnell Autry and the rest of the Wildcats, the coaching staff, the entire staff, Gary Barnett. But listen up. You got your hands full. The Trojans have been sitting at home. John Robinson's tough in the Rose Bowl. Don't be surprised.
Quit trying to motivate him.
Do the game, will you? Here comes Marino dropping down now. Here's Parmalee. Probably run out at the 49-yard line. You got me.
You've had that Northwestern hat on. I see at breakfast you have the hat on. At lunch you have the hat on. Cold beer at midnight you have your hat on.
It's the only time in my life I've ever been able to wear that hat this time of year.
And then I get here, and who's wearing the same hat? Your buddy from Northwestern. Old Steve Tasker.
Getting warm. It's getting a little chilly over there on that Dolphin sideline. When you're losing like this, second half, Marino attempting to rally the troops, fires high and incomplete.
They're playing a 3-deep zone, and you should throw those deep slants and slant patterns against the 3-deep zone that time. It's a strong side zone coverage. Marino saw it. He just got the ball a little bit too high, but that's what he wants to do with it.
2nd and 10.
Has Fryer caught a football yet?
He has been blanked, Coach. Wade's defense has blanked.
Either
Mr.
blanked him or they just haven't thrown it to him.
I really thought his agent was brain dead this week anyway. Saying that my client doesn't get thrown enough balls when they lose. Now they can say it again, right? I mean, they're trying to find him. There he goes, deep, and he can't hang on.
Good coverage by Thomas Smith over there. One-on-one all the way. And that was a man coverage. I was surprised they'd be in man coverage on that second down situation when you're leading 24-0, Brent. But he had him one-on-one.
Guess the agent will ignore that, right?
No, he won't. No, he won't. He'll be upset with you. You like to upset people.
Right there.
That's part of your
listen,
routine.
you're going into the playoffs. The guy's a free agent anyway, right? He should have caught the ball. That's ridiculous.
We like to stir the pot.
It's third down. Oh, Bruce, you're a little quick that time, partner. You're good, but not that good.
You know, I asked him about playing in the defensive line with Bryce Pop being there, and he said they actually moved him around less this year with Pop being here.
Offside, unabated to the quarterback, number 78 on the defense. 5 yards, still third down.
Here's the two guys. Bryce Pop on your right, 17.5 sacks this year, 10 more than he got at Green Bay last year. On the other guy, the leading sacker in the history of playoff football in the National Football League. Two pretty good players.
Marino, right, and Carter's got it on the ricochet.
What great concentration.
Fimmel Johnson with the interception on that side.
First one of his career. What great concentration. 1-on-1 all the way. Fimmel Johnson, jam him a little bit right there. Now he can't touch him again. He's going down. He looks back now at the right time, flicks it away, turns around, the ball's off his helmet, and he picks off his first career interception in the National Football League.
So it was Fimmel Johnson with the pick. Top of the game, we showed you a graphic. Since they expanded the wild card portion of the NFL playoffs, the AFC teams, the wild card teams, are unbeaten at home. And that trend is continuing here with Kelly trying to get a little quiet down in this end of the field. They are chanting that haunting cry of Brian, Brian. This is Holmes, who had checked in the backfield. Terrell Buckley, who started on that corner, made the stop.
That's a real good call by Tom Olivadotti. He brought the safety, who's rotated up on the slot, and blitzed him off the safety. That's really tough to audible against. It's tough to see coming, and it's a real good defensive changeup.
Now here they are, trying to do what they've never accomplished the month of December or January, and Kelly
got him.
Bingo. Brooks running free. Buckley brings him down at the 35-yard line, and there is a penalty flag back at the 20, and Buckley is insisting that this is against the offense, and they are coming back, it looks like.
Well, they separated quick there at one time, Brent. They were really tight, then separated quickly. But awfully good pass protection that time. They ran the dogs from the outside. Called against Buffalo. Marv doesn't like that one. Billy Brooks in the slot, going out. Now he ran like a pick move right there.
That's an illegal play.
Yeah, a pick move, I think they called for it. Let's see. He broke clean, but that's a chance you take when you're up playing man-to-man, too.
Yeah, the other man made contact as he came through there on it. That Russell Copeland, I believe, was interchanging that time with Brooks, and the penalty was called as they came through. They picked the man off, and there was actual contact. You know, it's interesting that Buckley, who was, of course, attacked for his performance for the Packers down in Dallas, a week ago he played very well in St. Louis. Now, Buckley, of course, like Deion Sanders, played collegiately down at Florida State. Like Deion, he's not shy.
I'll tell you what Buckley is. He's a guy that'll make a great play and look like an all-pro and then make a play and get you beat. You know, you go after him. I don't think he's got great speed, but he has great confidence, so he plays like he has great speed.
Now Kelly. Incomplete, and you know, like Fryer, I don't remember Andre Reed catching a pass. I remember him dropping a ball in the first half.
He had no pass receptions in the first half.
So he too with the big goose egg, and of course he's had the injury problem.
Yeah, they threw at him a couple times. It's easier to double a guy when they put him in the slot too. When he's not in the slot, they've had the guy that's going to run the ball coming out of the slot.
Now, Moore is punting, and McDuffie, if nothing else, should give Marino good attack position.
Yeah.
Moore is standing back on the Bills' 1-yard line. If they're going to mount any kind of a charge, they've got to get it going. McDuffie, fair catch at the 45, and now Marino can play with half a football field. If they're going to strike, now's the time to get it done.
Back at Rich Stadium, should old acquaintance be forgot? Well, this sign here kind of says it all. Miami, less spitting, more hitting. You know, he told me, Brian Cox, that he has a tattoo on his left arm that describes him. It says Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He admits he's kind of socially schizophrenic. Probably the team would like a little more anger today. Brent?
Leslie, thank you. Now with Dan Marino standing back in the shotgun. 6:46 to go in the third, and the Dolphins behind 24-0. And Fryer working the near sideline at the 36-yard line.
Right now, Buffalo, with this lead, you would think they'd play zone. That time they were in a man coverage, had the strong safety playing man-to-man on Big Eric Green. So they rushed 5 and covered with 6. So they're still trying to get that pressure with either a 4-man or a 5-man rush.
They flex Big Eric off the line.
Now they show 2 deep, Brent. No, they're doubling weak side.
Marino looks left side. McDuffie reaching back, incomplete. And McDuffie saying that he had it.
You know, Marino read that perfectly. They showed him a 2-deep coverage, then they rolled the coverage weak and doubled Fryer, and he read it and went right back to the strong side. Nothing like being a great quarterback and reading coverages like that, because they did a good job of disguising it, but they didn't fool Dan Marino. You know, he's got such strength in his arm. He can throw the ball into double coverage between people and throw the completed pass and get away with it.
Third down and 1 for Marino and the Dolphins. High snap, Buffalo. Bryce Pop, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year.
Why would you be in a shotgun on 3rd and 1? That startles me a little bit.
You're the coach, you tell me.
I know. I probably have done it myself, but right there, I'll tell you, I wouldn't have done it. Look at that.
Intercept the center snap. Nice going, Bryce. We'll be right back.
The offensive coordinator, he interviewed for the job up at Philadelphia. He also has been an applicant for several college jobs, and again, he would like to move on and become a head coaching job. Now, let's go back to that 3rd and 1, Dick. There are a lot of fans who don't understand what you're talking about why
first
the shotgun.
first off, Miami is a real good third and short running team and goal line, goal-to-go running team, you know, and to get in a shotgun and must have had something in game plan that they thought they could do, obviously, or they wouldn't have called it. But you leave yourself wide open for criticism when you make that kind of formation call on 3rd and 1. Especially when you just move and get the first down.
Give it to Parmalee and get the 1 yard and keep going, huh?
Well, you know, Parmalee is the #2 short yardage runner in football, or in the AFC. He's 12 of 14 times he's successful. But game plan dictates many things. They're going to get that pick call again.
Well, Brooks put it down, and it's
they tried the same thing
down at the 45-yard line.
6 yards. 3rd and 4.
Miami defense has done a pretty good job in sudden change defensive situations. They've been confronted with that 32 times this year and only gave up 12 touchdowns. So here they are at the top of the screen. You'll see they're going to look like they're going to try to rub people off right there, but he slips underneath them. See, that time he wasn't up in tight bump and run.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Oh, they were trying to do her.
They didn't get the contact that they wanted to rub him off that time. And Kelly fires complete to Thurman. And Thomas to the 43-yard line. First down, Buffalo.
See, they're trying to change up that time. They brought Cox as an outside rusher on the other side. They were man-to-man in there, and then they got the ball to the right guy. Kelly is so in command of what's going on. You just can't fool him. See, he knows where he's going with the football. See, Thomas pushes inside, then breaks to the outside. That gives him that cushion to the outside. You see the defender chasing him like that. Good job.
Kelly, blitz picked up Thurman. Klein, 23-yard line. First down, Buffalo.
They took a chance, brought the coverage man off the slot and blitzed him. And Thurman did a real nice job of picking up. He's caught the ball, he's run the ball, and now he pass protects for Kelly from the right side of your screen. Here comes the blitz. Pow! Number 30. Good technique. Sinks the butt. Uses his hands properly. Uses his shoulder pads. Good coaching there by Elijah Pitts. Counter.
Thomas sealed up. Cox coming through. Tonight on ABC, New Year's weekend starts with the Jeff Foxworthy Show, and maybe this time, then no holiday is complete without an Ernest movie. So the network premiere of Ernest rides again tonight right here on ABC. That mouth is almost big enough to be a sportscaster. So it's 2nd down and 12 for Kelly. Thomas
and Beavers
to the 10.
See, they got in a triple formation. 3 receivers to one side, Brent. Take the running back out the backside away from that. Put him on Aubrey Beavers, number 53, as a linebacker on him. It's a mismatch. To the left side of your screen, you'll see him check out, crossover. Here he comes right in the middle. They throw him the ball, 1-on-1 against the linebacker. Everybody to the right of the screen is pushed out of there in man coverage with 3 receivers going down and cleaning out that area. It's stealing out here.
From behind Atkins. Kelly. Thurman, time to find his daylight. Brown, who's in the game, makes the stop.
Good defensive penetration that time by the defensive right tackle. Got some movement upfield and forced him to make a move in his own backfield, rather right at the point of attack. Good defensive play that time.
In danger of being embarrassed. Now Kelly. Thomas steps out at the 9.
Good defense here, though. They strung it out properly that time, Brad. And Michael Stewart, the strong safety, came up there, and they had the backside guard and tackle out in front of that. They kept it moving to the sideline, and Stewart did just as he's coached to do by the defensive secondary coach Mel Phillips, to fill that inside out and get your pads on him. That was well done.
Holmes enters the game, number 44. He scored a touchdown in the first half with a powerful run to the right side.
blitz. Here's Holmes to the 5-yard line where it'll be 4th down.
Well, he explodes out of that stance.
Yes, he does.
He shows real acceleration. Now he's 6 foot, 226 pounds. He was originally a receiver in junior college, Pasadena City College, all the way from Northern California. Obviously not highly recruited. Ends up at Portland State. Here he is, going to play in the playoffs in the National Football League.
Tasker, who is not going to play as wide receiver because of the hamstring pull, will hold here for Christie. This is a 23-yard field goal attempt. Christie has performed well for the kicking team today, and he does again here, putting another 3 on the board. It's a 27-point mountain for the Miami Dolphins. The first round of the NFL playoffs. This team unbeaten in this arena come playoff time. You know, this week I was down and I had a conversation with Don Shula. We talked about the ups and the downs, and then I talked about the newspaper polls that were started down there about whether or not he should come back. Let's listen.
The key story.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you're saying the community. Does that mean everybody?
No,
I've got a lot of support out there, and I'm very proud of that support that I have.
Absolutely.
But there have been, you know, the media has caused some real controversy here, and the fact that, you know, Jimmy Johnson is sitting there looking and talking about how much he would enjoy coaching in South Florida. That's added fuel to the fire.
Added fuel indeed, and so has the 27-0 score, except for this fact. If you were not with us at noon, Don Shula returns next year as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. But there will be some changes, not only on the coaching staff, but also with the players. Dick?
You know, there was a day in the National Football League, a man of his stature, Don Shula's stature, was immune to criticism, and the media left him alone. And to me, it's a shame it's changed, because nobody's done it any better than Don Shula for a long period of time.
Dick, I'm going to pick up on that. The longtime columnist for the Miami Herald and a friend through the years and a voice of reason in Miami has been Edwin Pope.
Yes, good man.
Edwin has written a couple of columns. Last week he had an interview with Wayne Huizenga as he watched the Ram game unfold in St. Louis. But Edwin and I agree that things aren't perfect with Don Shula. But here is a man who deserves to fulfill that contract, that 2-year extension. That's only right. I mean, let's be reasonable about this. This man has earned the right to be the coach of the Miami Dolphins next year, even if things aren't right with this team. And Huizenga obviously understands that. He's a very reasonable and intelligent man.
Great throw.
Reception at midfield by the tight end, and they're waving it off. Now here, let's talk about Eric Green and Bryce Popp and free agency. Now let's talk about the fact that the Dolphins decided that with Jackson leaving, they would sink the big bucks in the hands of the tight end. He's been hurt. He has not been that consistent for them. They were also interested in Pop, but they backed off. Buffalo stepped in, and think of the difference that those two individuals have made in those two franchises. A lot of changes as you watch Wayne Huizenga up in the box watching his Miami Dolphins. And there is Fryer out of bounds with a first down across the 45-yard line.
15-yard pass play. First and 10 for the Dolphins.
28 Thomas Smith, the corner covering there. You know, he's a remarkable story, Brent. He was not recruited out of high school. He walked on in college at North Carolina, became a first-round draft choice his senior year. Here he is starting in a playoff game. That's an inspirational story for high school kids that want to be something, want to make something of their lives.
Yeah, you bet. Well, the final half minute here in the third quarter, Coach, and Byers has to reach behind him.
Or they just do not have it. There's something missing, and it looks more mental than it does physical. It really does. Maybe it's an attitude. There's Gary Stevens talking with Coach Shula. You can't catch it for him, Gary Stevens. I learned that myself a long time ago. They're showing a 2 deep coverage, Brent.
Fire! McDuffie's got it. McDuffie to the 21-yard line, and a first down for the Dolphins as Dan Marino tries to breathe a little fire in this team. 31 yards.
What a beautiful throw. They're up there tight, man to man, but now he is back. 27 is backed up. Kenny Urban is backed by a safety going down the hole. The safety just doesn't get there quick enough to help him. That's where you should attack that double zone. Marino read it, got it to him with a beautiful throw.
You see Darby trying to knock it out. We'll be back with the final 15 between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills after this word from our ABC station. In the National Football League, Ralph Wilson, the owner of the Buffalo Bills. When you listen to him, he is the voice of reason around this league. He was here from the original days of the old American Football League. He's a man who has patience, suffered through those early years. Well, actually, they were pretty successful in the 60s for a while, struggled in the 70s. Now the team is back on top, McDuffie. But consider that a team that lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. He didn't rant and rave. He didn't go and make big changes. Marv Levy's still in charge, upgraded the facility. If any owner deserves to go into the Hall of Fame this year, it is Ralph Wilson.
No question. I had lunch with him the other day when we got in here on Thursday, and he made a great comment talking about the National Football League. He said it used to be about tradition and loyalty, and that has changed, and that's not good.
Here is Byers as the Dolphins will attempt to get on that scoreboard quickly here in the 4th quarter.
Byers has those great big hands. I don't know if he's ever dropped the ball. Probably has in his career. He's never been the running back everybody thought he would. I've always thought he's played a little bit too heavy. I think he ought to be about a 240-pound player rather than a 253 or 55-pound player.
No question about his hands. Fire! Knocked away beautifully by Smith.
Tommy Smith. Well, he led the team coming in here with 16 passes knocked down. There's his 17th. Playing with real confidence. #1 pick in '93. Can't throw it much better than that either. Marino concentrating. Sam, he lets that thing go, coming right at it. Right, everything legal. That right hand just strips the ball. Knocked it away from a pretty darn good receiver in Gary Clark.
Third down. Smith trying to battle in. Marino back to the right. Incomplete.
He's a rookie, Kenny Urban, #27, 4th-round draft choice out of Memphis. You've got to give this personnel department a lot of credit. They have some good young football players making plays in this playoff game. That ball's thrown real well, but excellent coverage. Excellent coverage.
4th down. Listen to the crowd in this end of the field. Marino's got one. McDuffie.
Brought him in motion, crossed the formation, went out, then came back underneath. They gave him time to throw it, set up properly, just nailed it. Well done. Well executed offensive play. You know, coaches take the blame many times on bad plays. This is a well-conceived, well-designed offensive play. They ought to get the credit for the design of that one. Well done.
Stoyanovich. So now 13:53 to go, but the heat is on the Miami defense. Olivedetti and his players need to get the ball back in Marino's hands. Some colorful characters here rooting for the Bills.
Would that upset you if it was your son?
No, not at all.
No, probably wouldn't.
As long as he paid for his own ticket, what would I care?
And his tuition.
Out of bounds, and what a mistake. What a mistake to make at that time when you're trying to battle back.
Bring that ball up to the 40-yard line.
Oh, brother.
Oh, taking a look at the stats. Total domination. At halftime, Miami had 15 minutes time of possession. Look at this right here. 2 minutes and 59 seconds time of possession in the third quarter. Total domination in yards here, 240 to rushing to 62 total yards. Hey, it's been Buffalo all the way. Stats don't tell us anything.
Now the Bills get the ball at the 40-yard line.
Wow.
Coming out. They get to go to work on the clock. The Dolphins have not sealed them up. 27-7. Derrick Holmes into that backfield. Fake by Kelly. Right deep. Brooks incomplete, and he was well covered by Buckley.
I'll tell you, Buckley really recovered on that because he went in motion, Brooks did, and then came out of the motion and went back, and he was able to recover. He's coming in motion here. He's man-to-man here. He'll come in and then come back, and Buckley recovers and picks him up. Say, he said, holy mackerel. He just waited a little too long to throw the ball, and the safety couldn't get there. But he had him if he'd have thrown it quicker.
On second down, Holmes behind the left side of the offensive line. I want to talk about the rookie offensive lineman Brown of the Bills for a moment, Dick, because Bruce Smith is so proud of the fact that this young man has a brother who plays at Virginia Tech, who we're going to see in the Nokia Sugar Bowl tomorrow night. He's an outstanding defensive player, but this young man who played at Pittsburgh, and this is the only rookie in the history of Marv Levy's tenure to start all 16 games as a rookie. Now that is some record, especially for an offensive lineman.
And they think the guy is going to be a great player. I mean a real, true, solid football player. And I watched him in game tapes here, and I watched him on the coaches' tapes, interwoven sideline and end zone. And he is a man. He is a load. He has real good balance and mobility for a 304-pounder, and he's just a puppy. He's very, very young. He's, I think, one of the youngest starting defensive linemen in the National Football League right now.
Well, the Dolphins quickly get 3 and out. Good stand for them defensively. 13-12. They're going to get the ball back into Marino's hands, apparently. Moore with a
nice
high punt.
Ooh, nice punt.
McDuffie will let it go toward the end zone, and it's in. It'll come out on the 20-yard line. So it's 56 yards. Now Marino. 80 yards. He's got 13 minutes to work with. He's not out of it, folks. You know, Dick, in some ways, that was the most impressive defensive stand of the game. In less than a minute, the Dolphins get the ball back into Marino's hands.
Right, and, you know, starting at the 40-yard line, you'd think Buffalo would be all fired up to go ahead and just move it, at least for the field goal. But they, like you said, the defense stepped up and got it done.
Now from behind Marino, and that inside pitch off the shotgun to Byers, and you can see him run down by Smith.
Tackle.
Bruce Smith is an interesting story because if you talk to Marv Levy and you talk to Ralph Wilson, and if you talk to Bruce himself, as we did, he was pretty immature when he first came in here to Buffalo. He's grown up a lot, has a young son and a wife, and very close family man here now. And Marino with time fires. McDuffie's wide open in the middle, and McDuffie to the lateral, and Kirby fumble, and the Dolphins have got it on the far side, out of bounds. You know, that was a hook and a couple of laterals, folks.
Who did a nice job on that was the offensive left guard. Keith Sims came out and picked up right here, came out and got a real good pickup block that he needed. Bang! Good job. That's a good job by Keith Sims. That allowed Marino the time to get that ball down in that zone.
Did you see McDuffie pick him up? And they tried to get it to Fryer's hands, and now it's a first down for the Dolphins. 12-11. The crowd rising and trying to get back in, trying to make it tough. And there's movement.
Yep. In the neutral zone, I'm pretty sure, unless an offensive lineman moves.
Yeah, I think he did.
Yep. Andrew
before the snap, false start. Number 68 on the offense. 5 yards, still first down.
You know what's interesting about this Dolphin team, and it's been pointed out by a lot of folks, when you look back at them over the last couple years, they've gotten a lot more penalties than they ever did. They used to automatically lead the league, and we always blamed him because Shula was on the competition committee. That was always the joke when you were having a beer.
Yeah.
All you coaches, but now he's one of the most penalized teams.
I didn't realize you ever had a beer.
11:47. Marino. Middle by Fire.
He was running before he caught it. Hit him right in the chest, and he took off, and he was going to run and make a 100-yard gain with that thing, and he dropped it. Experienced wide receiver. You know, Brian Popp is the guy we haven't heard much from. Coming out of a two-point stance. This time it's Billy Miller, and he comes back to the inside, and a good job of switching and picking up by Andrew Green. That's why we haven't heard much from Brian Popp. Check down.
It off. And he got it into Parmalee's hands, and he's across the 40-yard line to the 38-yard line.
Those kind of plays against the deep dropping zone are great plays. The running back freezes just for a second, let the rush get the linebackers drop out, and they just check down and they drop it to him.
Third down. The Dolphins need 4 for the first down. Incomplete. Overthrew Clark, and Smith almost picked it. And now the Dolphins come down to 4th down in the season.
It looks like Thomas Smith is nursing an elbow or a shoulder. He got up, he's walking around, but he's hurting a little bit. Miami's got to come up. If anybody can come up with a play, Marino can. But he's going to need help.
They must reach the 35-yard line.
Oh!
Didn't get it.
Had him in man coverage. Greg Evans. He went to the right guy. They brought the 5th rusher. 6 guys playing man-to-man. He read it. He was locked on to the receiver. Evans comes up and makes a nice square tackle.
Dick, a question for coaches. And I'll come back and ask you about that play. But it always kind of puzzles me in watching that play. We'll be right back. It's 27-7. Here, people have focused on the problems of the defense in Miami. But in watching this game, you got to wonder about execution on offense, picking up blitzes, blitz control, people sliding at the line of scrimmage, receivers busting it off, different things like that, and Thurman Thomas running wild. Well, let's go back to that offensive situation over there as to what happened. I mean, blitzers have been able to come free against Marino.
Well, it looked like Marino was upset that he had to dump the ball off quickly there because nobody picked up the inside rush guy, and he seemed to be upset. It's hard to read what was on his mind this distance, you know, and see what he was saying, but I kind of believe that was what it was. Take a look at that last play. Here we are right now. They got 4 down linemen and a rusher right here. See, here comes the rusher. Freeze it right there. Freeze it. See, here's the rusher that no one picked up.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment right after we watch this snap.
I'll tell you who's doing a nice job out of the I formation you don't see often is Tinsdale there, little 33, the fullback.
Now, you're saying that Marino is concerned about what's happening in the offensive line up front, that's his primary problem, or that the receivers aren't busting it off when they read it?
No, you don't know what's coached on that play, but no one picked up the linebacker. Now, either the line didn't slide to pick him up, or a running back didn't pick him up, or he's a hot receiver read, and you dump it off if he does come. This could be any one of those 3 things, Brent, but you don't know unless you're in the huddle. But Marino knew, but somebody else didn't know.
So it is 2nd down and 6, and the Bills work. The Canadian Flash breaks open. A year ago, he wins the trophy that is comparable to the Heisman in Canada, and now he strokes it into the end zone and sticks a dagger into the heart of Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins.
He's only carried the ball 5 times. They've used him as a wingback and goal line and short yardage, and they use him as a fullback in a short yardage formation. Then they're right here. He comes right up inside, just man-to-man blocking in there, and he runs back, cuts back behind the nose. The backside linebacker overplays the play, and here he goes. Woo! There's another guy, West Ontario, free agent at 94. Give the personnel department credit.
I can just see Coach Cowher And the rest of those assistants getting another reel of the Buffalo tapes. Pittsburgh, here comes the Bills. And they are peaking at the right time. That's going to be a whale of a football game.
And I'll tell you one thing, Cowher will have those guys ready to play mentally. I guarantee you that.
This AFC wildcard game from Buffalo, brought to you by Lincoln Mercury and the complete line of 1996 Mercury automobiles. Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn free with new Pepsid AC. And Digital Equipment Corporation. Digital, whatever it takes.
Tom Brasnahan, who is the offensive coordinator for Buffalo and the offensive line coach, has really done a good job. Brandon, coming in here and looking at the game tapes and studying and watching for fun, watching guys play. Very seldom do you see an offensive line execute as well as they do, Brent, fundamentally. Here they come, low angle here, reach back now, that gets the flow moving to the right. Now he reads it, and he cuts back and he gets underneath John Fina, 70, the block right there, and a good block by Ruben Brown, 79, and there's the crease he needed. Defense up playing tight, he's in between the safeties, touchdown. Look at that guy. And he's not a giant either. 5'11", 220. Used to playing in the cold.
Now McDuffie to the 31-yard line. Dick, the numbers are overwhelming because we came into this game knowing that whoever ran for the most yardage was going to win the game. And here's Tyndale, who comes right back down after that touchdown on special teams, and watch the Canadian get downfield.
Well, Bruce DeHaven, the special teams coach, told me he has great special team attitude. He will make tackles. He will make blocks on return teams. Doesn't matter. He just wants the opportunity to play. Real good job by the offensive line of stunt pickup inside. They moved big Bruce Smith over his left defensive tackle and tilted him, then stunted him around, and the offensive line passed him off and picked it up perfectly.
Smith run off. Marino has to throw it away. Basically, he had an underneath receiver. It was McDuffie.
Real good job by Phil Henson that time, and Bruce Smith had pressure too, but Phil Henson was the main guy. He whipped Sims. This guy is a force, and he plays with the intensity and enthusiasm of a younger player, and he's been around for a long time, 11 seasons.
Keep it alive by putting the ball in the hands of number 89, Randall Hill.
And he's their speed guy. Randall, thrill the Hill guy. Starting to rotate some different pass rushers in there right now, Brent. Get a little change up.
Incomplete.
Buffalo's really now almost playing a prevent type 3 deep zones, sitting back there deep with 3 guys deep, 4 crossing the short zones, and the Russian 4 down linemen. But they're rotating the down linemen. Dan Sakanovich, the defensive line coach, rotating those guys there. And Kozar there, he has something to say. He's thrown a few touchdowns in his day too, hasn't he?
And as most of you know, he of course is connected with Dan Marino, so he calls the plays in with that headset. He's been known to change a play or two along the way, but he won't take credit for this debacle. Marino, it's embarrassing.
It is not their day. It is not their day. I don't know how many they've dropped, but they've dropped a number of them. And they got the kind of coverage they want. Loose zone, you know, boom, just dink it, run up underneath that coverage, make the first downs. Can't make the first down without the ball in your hand. Marv likes it. He likes it. Don doesn't like it. And neither does Gary Stevens.
Now on 3rd and 10.
Still playing zone.
No, diving attempt, but incomplete. And that was the free safety, Matt Darby.
Yeah, under pressure.
Pretty much sums it up, huh?
Yeah, it's an old Harvard expression. I'll tell you, you know, when you know how good and how respected a quarterback is when you talk to his retired teammates. Like we ran into Bob Baumhauer down in Alabama that day, Tuscaloosa. What did he say about Marino? The best ever, he said. Best ever. Got a shot. Got it. Hill. Touchdown. Hit the fade pattern against the double zone. Threw it perfectly right in rhythm. What a throw. What a catch. Safety should have been over there to make the play. Didn't get there.
45-yard scoring play.
He's going to go right down the sideline. They'll be rolled up on him tight. You see to the left top of your screen, Famel number 39 lets him go inside, and the safety's got to get there. He doesn't get there. Poor angle. Chris Green took a too flat an angle to get there. Touchdown.
You know, when Johnson is limping off the field, they're getting a little too nicked up in that defensive backfield as they prepare to head on into Pittsburgh.
You don't want to go to Pittsburgh banged up because you're going to leave there banged up.
Well, here is Don Shula. Of course, back in the 70s, he coached the last unbeaten team to parade through the NFL. And you've seen it said that their last road victory in the playoffs was 72. Not exactly right. Somebody must have thought this was a neutral site. 74. And a Super Bowl victory in Houston. It was Larry Zonka and the Dolphins. Consider that great Dolphin era. They used to run the ball and pound it out by the great offensive line. Shula changed things behind Dan Marino. And this year, with a 2-year contract, he wanted to take one more shot at getting to a Super Bowl. And it has not been the kind of season that the organization expected when they spent better than $12 million on free agents and contract extensions. This was the kind of thing that they sought.
Beautiful, beautiful throw. You just can't do it any better. 19 first-round draft choice on this roster right now that we're watching Miami Dolphins play. 19 first-round picks.
The most
there's some talent. Most any team in the National Football League. Tell you, the trouble is someone's always going to take the blame. You know, someone's always at fault when you don't quite reach expectations.
Stoyanovich with a bad kickoff the last time it was out of bounds, although the defense was able to hold and get the ball back for a time. And
they may
blows over. Somebody just put your finger down there and hold it.
They may onside it right here. Wouldn't surprise me a bit here. Why not? He's setting up to do it, Brent.
I think he was looking up at that clock.
Second oldest head coach NFL history. You know, I saw and was on.
He wants the clock started. Of course he does. And then they finally get it started on him.
You know, that thing running.
They've got that clock that rolls on the kickoffs now. And they finally started a little bit late.
Here they're flopping the people over in front. Now they call timeout. David White walks. Yeah.
Tom McDermott reports to the press box.
Barry Sanders and the Detroit Lions are coming up next. against Ricky Waters and the Philadelphia Eagles. It'll be the Lions and the Eagles at the vet. The Lions, the hottest team in the league, a 7-game winning streak. You know, we were talking about last time a team has won a playoff game on the road, and we said, well, 72 if we don't count a neutral site for the Dolphins, 74 if you consider their Super Bowl win. Folks, for the Detroit Lions, you got to go back to like 1957. I mean, I think Bobby Lane was winging them for the Lions the last time that team ever won a game on the road in the playoffs.
So they flopped everybody over. The defense now didn't get everybody over, so they called timeout. Wanted to get adjusted. Now they changed what they're doing here. Well, they kicked her away.
Look who they put back as a return man. Takes it out of bounds. They had the good hands people all over the place.
For some reason in the timeout they changed their mind in regard to trying the onside kick.
Dick, Buffalo has rushed for better than 300 yards against Shula's defense today.
That's unbelievable.
They have averaged 7.3 yards per carry.
And they came in here giving up only 104 yards a ball game, ranked 6th in the AFC, 12th in the NFL. Look at that. That's a rushing record.
And the clock inside of 8 minutes.
Normally with Kelly at quarterback, you would never see him in a 2-back attack. He just does not like it. You know, the other day after Thursday practice, he called his own offensive meeting. Some guys tried to sneak out and get to the parking lot. He went out and rounded them up and brought them back in, and he came into Jim Schaffner's office later, and I was sitting in there. He was complaining about it, and Jim Schaffner says, well, now you know what it is to be a coach. But he has his own meetings on Thursday and goes through the game plan with his players, and it's very much a leader of this organization.
Second one. You know, and speaking of Kelly, what you really want for an organization is you want a head coach who can take courses at Harvard, as Mark Levy did, and a quarterback who will pay for the beer when he goes out with the offensive line, as Kelly did. Now, if I was running the franchise, that would be the 2 things I'd want. Okay, right? They would go from there.
Yeah. He's a tough son of a gun.
Throwback
the players
guy.
respect him. The coaches respect him. Great rapport between the staff and Jim Kelly.
Future Hall of Famer, too. As is Levy, I believe. He fully deserves it. Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith. We've always talked about Ralph Wilson. Of course, Don Shula, automatic with Dan Marino on the other side. We're talking 7 future Hall of Famers here.
Yeah, no question. They will be there. You bet. Bernie Kosar. Post pass attempts. Kosar 64. Kelly 58. Marino 56.
Now that's when you know, folks, in television land, when you really got a blowout. Okay, they find the backup quarterback and they put a graphic up. Okay. Look at this. There's penalty flags. You know, bulldogging all over the place.
It's almost as if no one wanted to tackle him. He says, hey, slow down, guys. The game's over. Don't keep running on me. God, what an effort he makes.
Boy, Kelly was applauding.
Yeah.
You would think that this one's going against the Dolphins.
I thought the offense moved early, but I guess not.
Well,
both of them. Only going to take one of them.
Well, Red,
offside.
Bring in the New Year for us, partner.
That penalty is declined. Illegal use of the hands. Number 53 on the defense. 5 yards tacked on to the end of the play. First down.
And a happy 96.
He's getting stronger with that voice. Didn't you hear that? Hurt down. He's getting tough here.
That's another indication you got a blowout when the best thing you got going is a referee saying first down. 34-14. A painful, painful playoff game for the Miami Dolphins against their arch rival, the Buffalo Bills. Holmes. Dick, I went back just out of curiosity and I got the NFL's regular preseason magazine. Then I got Sports Illustrated back, and I really was just curious. I couldn't remember. And almost unanimously, everybody said the Dolphins will win the AFC East. And do you know that most folks picked the Bills for 4th place? There were some 3rd place votes in there. I'll tell you who had it the closest was Paul Zimmerman. Yeah, he wrote a story in which he said, I don't believe in the Miami Dolphins quite yet. He said, I just think they're a little soft on defense. And he said the Bills hang tough. Now, he didn't think they were going to win it necessarily, but it was interesting to go back and read what they wrote back in July and August about these teams.
They also wrote off the Kansas City Chiefs.
They sure did. They were written off. Here he comes again.
He's a dandy, that guy.
Tough to bring down that Canuck. You bet. Another 20 yards for Tyndale, huh?
Very, very good balance. Doesn't have much forward body tilt, so his weight is back. He sees a little crack. He's quick enough to accelerate and get through it.
He's only averaging 32 yards a carry.
Came into the game averaging 3.2.
How'd they ever get him off skates?
He moved the decimal point.
How'd they get him off? He looks like he's built like a defenseman, man.
Yeah, got some
Come
other
back
Canadians
there into the
here.
boards. He'll take you down into the corner, huh?
Yeah, you bet he would. Most yards rushing in a
They're
game.
closing in, but not enough time, I don't think, to hit the top of the charts. .525, and for Miami, it can't move fast enough. Trailing by 20 points, and the Bills banging on it. And here comes the chant. Just listen. This is for Brian Cox. All right, Brian, take charge of this crowd. Here comes Holmes. And there's his buddy, the fullback.
He's a good blocker. He did an excellent job blocking that time, Brent. He made good contact. He kept his feet working like that. Actually, I think that Holmes should have cut back up a little quicker, cut back inside, because the job was done by his fullback. Gosh, he's a spectacular little player, this guy.
Take a look at this now as they come
to the right side of your screen. You'll see him making contact right there, and good block by Brown, number 79. But right here, boy, he's doing a real good job staying with it on Beavers, number 53.
And did you see Gardner there, number 35, coming over on Cox, and then he steps back again and whacks away on Stewart. Now there is Gardner, and you see how Cox, who was fined $17,500 when he locked horns with Gardner 2 weeks ago, did you see how he walked away? But I want to tell you folks, Gardner got a little bit of a lick in on him that time.
Hey, that's a lot of money, Coach. Even the amount of money this guy's making, that's still a lot of money.
Deserved it.
Yeah, that really upset you. You can see that Tim Ruddy, former Notre Dame, he's not used to losing. This guy is not. Won all through his college career. Really a bright guy. That, you know, he was an academic All-American at college, so he's a bright guy, and he's disgusted right now. Yeah, this guy wasn't a bad college player himself. Pretty good NFL football player. But he is too.
Dick, I think they should be disgusted. I think they should all go home and look to themselves. Players
don't point the finger to anybody.
Exactly. I'd get so tired of the alibi ikes that show up in sports. You're responsible for your own actions.
Ooh, nice play there. Well, one of the defensive coaches on Miami staff coaches the linebackers, George Hill. I guarantee you that position's coached well. He coached with me for 4 years, and no one ever did it any better. Something missing. Mean Joe Green's been in a few playoff games in his day. Didn't lose any of them either, I don't think, did he?
Speaking of the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, 4-time Super Bowl winner. He's the guy that invented the tilt tackle. cocked, like we see both teams play on the center here today. I think he was one of the first guys that ever lined up that way. In fact, I can remember preparing a game plan, and I saw him lined up like that. I said, you can't line up like that. And heck, he could. He could line up any way he wanted to. He was a man's man, that guy. Disgusted right now.
Well, you can only imagine the thoughts that are going through the heads of the coaches over there with the Dolphins as well as the players, because obviously there's going to be some major changes within that staff. And so now Christie, who has had a big day, tacks up a 42-yarder.
I visited with him the other day and asked him about kicking in the cold weather. He said, you know, there's no way you get used to it. You learn to tolerate it. He grew up in Canada. He said, I walked to school in cold, freezing weather, but none of it helps you. All you do is learn to tolerate it. That's it.
I thought the key thing was finding a ball boy someplace to keep the footballs warm for you.
That's probably right. Well, you grew up in the cold weather in Montana, too. So do you get used to it?
Never.
Never, no. But you can learn to tolerate it.
Yeah. Yep. You just get a credit card and you call LL Bean and you can tolerate it. How about that character, huh? I thought that I'd gotten rid of Jack Arute for the weekend.
Where's my pizza?
Nice going, guys. Listen, this team deserves a lot of credit from all of us. Now, they got their hands full in Pittsburgh next week. I always think that it's an enormous advantage coming to the playoffs when you get a week off. But this organization staying together after missing the playoffs last year and coming back, winning the division, winning a playoff game at home, now 9-0 after this one under Levy here in Rich Stadium. These guys deserve a lot of credit from all of us.
The whole organization.
You bet.
Ralph Wilson on down.
This is a class group in here. Marv Levy sometimes is not getting the credit. I mean, here's a guy who missed 3 games because of cancer surgery and jumped right back. The doctors thought he was going to be out over a month. He jumped right back, and here he is. Remember, they lost a couple of those games when he was out. Got this team in high gear, and he's just such a wonderful guy. I know the Monday night guys, Al and Frank and Dan, they've had great relationships with him through the years, too. You'll hear from them in the Philly game, Detroit, and having somebody like Jim Kelly, I can't say enough about him. Stayed up here, made a home in Buffalo where these people appreciate close community. It's like an old-time football team up here. You know that?
It is.
About the closest that I've ever come to in the NFL since the old days. Is
But
up here
I
in
think it's a
Buffalo.
reflection of their leadership.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's a reflection.
First and 10 at the 46.
Yeah, and the crowd's a good bunch of folks up here.
Yeah, they're the 12
They sold
man.
a lot of tickets.
Yeah.
You know, these folks scraped the money up, got the blackout lifted. You can't, you know, this is a good place. Hard-working people. That was not an easy ticket for them to buy this week for the families and the parents up here.
$44?
Yeah, that's a hard one. You think about that.
You already played for your whole your
Christmas
season
and everything.
tickets. Yeah.
You bet. But are they loving it now?
Oh,
I mean, it's the Miami Dolphins. It's Don Shula and Dan Marino, and they're burying them in the playoffs.
That's Hansen, who was a pass rusher as a defensive tackle. That shows you something. Rushes a passer, the ball is thrown, wheels around, and gets involved in the tackle.
Sliding. Attempt inside, and it's incomplete.
Gary Clark knows how to catch a football. Can you imagine catching 700 balls? That's a lot of. I wonder what his hands look like. They've got to be all knurled. Huh?
I'm only chuckling because Roger Staubach had that gnarled finger, and he used to say to me, I keep it that way so I can have handicap parking. Hands in NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody did a great picture essay on it.
Oh, I know it. But Andre Reed showed us his hands the other day, and they were all gnarled up.
stick over there on that side by Darby.
Yeah. Matt Darby, the UCLA guy, came up and hit.
But they still get a first down out of it, Coach. We head on down to Orlando, and the Comp USA Citrus Bowl should be a pretty good one between Ohio State and Tennessee.
That time, Richmond Webb did a real good job. Bruce Smith went upfield, 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 then tried to go underneath Webb, and Webb just took him and threw him to the ground. That was a real nice job by Richmond.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Bills remind you, no trespassing is permitted on the field at any time.
He's done an excellent job here as the defensive coordinator since leaving Denver as their head coach.
He's made a real contribution. He put that whole package together.
Also, whoever scouts and picks out players knows how to pick good character. McDuffie still battling to the 8-yard line. Ian Marino.
Picking good character is important. Eliminating bad character is more important, because you're never going to be 100% correct when you draft. You find out a lot of things about kids when you get them in your organization. Oh, they're going to call it. Yep. Greg Evans. They tried to run that inside slant pattern into the end zone there, and Evans, 41, was locked up on him.
Pass interference, number 41 on the defense, in the end zone. The ball.
Here they go right here. Now he's going to make a move right here, freeze it right here. You'll see him coming back to the inside right here. See, there, and he locks home, and he locks onto him right there. It's right there. The official was right on top of that.
Bruce Smith checks back into that defensive line, and he gets right down at the nose.
Oh, inside there.
And
wow.
Kirby for the touchdown. You know, Miami Dolphins in a two-point situation have gone for 19 times in the last 2 years, more than anybody in the NFL. Here's the shotgun handoff, top left side of your screen, handoff inside, take a little draw action up inside to get the end up there, and he gets it in the end zone. Kirby does. But one time this season, they went from 7 consecutive two-point plays. They only made 2 on the year, so obviously they quit doing it.
Well, you know what's interesting about that, Dick, is the team that's gone the fewest is Buffalo.
Buffalo, that's right.
Well, here they go. And unlike the college, which uses the 3, they use the 2 in the NFL, and you'd think they would have a higher rate of success than they do, but the defenses are so good. Smith with a quick start pass. They've got it this time. They hit O.J. McDuffie for the deuce.
Clever. It was a follow route. Run the route inside, then another one follow him. It's hard to cover that type of thing. You're only asking for 2 yards. Well designed. Danny, is he a competitor? Is he a competitor? As I was saying, Brent, remember talking to Bob Baumhauer when he talked about Dan Marino? He said, I love that guy. Never played with a better guy.
Don't ever play golf for money against him.
Really?
Okay. Don't.
Especially with my backswing.
But I'm telling you, Coach.
He's going to the right side of your screen. There was motion. He's looking back now. You'll see right side screen. Focus there. You'll see 2 receivers. See, one pulling it out and one following at the same angle he's entering the end zone. Tough to cover that. Good design. Nobody any better, in my opinion, throw the football since I've watched football. Nobody. Remember that? Wasn't it 84 when he came up?
83.
83. But then that Super Bowl team was at
85, right?
Yeah.
I think that was the last time. In fact, it is the last time that Shula the Dolphins have been there.
I remember charting that offense. They scored every 16 snaps that year. Every time 16 snaps, they were in the end zone. Unbelievable display of offense.
You know, one of the 6 quarterbacks selected that year was Todd Blackledge.
Yeah, working for us and doing a great job.
He'll be down at the Nokia Sugar Bowl.
Batted around. They got it.
Very well done by the Miami Dolphins. They've got it at midfield here with 2:04 to go.
They aren't quitting, that's for darn sure.
Michael Stewart picking it up that time. You know what's interesting? Let me tell you about the mathematics right now. I don't think it's going to happen, but
great bounce. It got it up there and it got better. Now the ball has to go 10 yards. If the white jersey touches it, then the Stewart 35 breaks on the ball and he gets it.
J.B. Brown was able to keep the ball in play. With the change in rules to the two-point conversion, the Dolphins are 2 big plays away if they can convert the 2 each time. If you tack the 16 points on up there, they've got 38 points, and Brian Cox goes out to 10 to the kicking tee as he brings it off. Of course, that brings the Buffalo cheer, as they call it up here.
They may get out of that zone defense right now, Brent, because of what you were talking about. Play a little tight. They're showing it too deep.
And they're going to run on it with Kirby to the 42-yard line. Now we're going to come down to the 2-minute warning. The Dolphins have 1 timeout left, and they're looking for a miracle. The final 2 minutes in Buffalo with the Bills. Unbeaten in Rich Stadium under Marv Levy. Just a couple minutes away from knocking Miami out of the playoffs and into the NFL graveyard. Next up, NFC, Lions and Eagles from Philadelphia. 2nd down and 3 for Marino. Hard the right sideline, intercepted. That'll do it.
They went after the same coverage with the same pattern that they scored the touchdown on, Brent. Tight man-to-man up front, backed up by a safety, but this time the corner did a real good job. You'll see what I'm talking about right here. They're going to 2 deep coverage, 2 deep back here. All right, man-to-man up here. He'll run the fade down the sideline, but they lock on and stay man-to-man. Last time he beat him for the touchdown. The safety is deeper. If he doesn't make the interception, he would have played it properly that time. Real good job of playing defense by Kenny Irvin, number 27. See, hit him. He knows he has help. He's looking back. The ball's coming down there. Real good job. The ball wasn't thrown quite far up in front, but the safety was there to protect it.
So the Bills with the Dolphins' inability now to get the ball back. So there it is. 9 in a row, all under Marv Levy.
And that's another reason it'll be tough in Detroit and Philadelphia next game coming up. The Eagles will play them tough. It's a real edge to play at home, especially in Philadelphia, especially in Buffalo. People love football, Brent. They're a motivating factor.
What's next, Dick?
Yeah, the quarterback's got to come up with a play now. Rodney Peete has to play like a pro quarterback. He staggered badly in the last few ball games. They've run the ball real well with Ricky Watters. They've played some pretty good defense, but they've got to throw the ball to win in the playoff games. Mr. Shula, I've coached against him a number of times. Didn't beat him very often. You better show up prepared. Because
you beat him once in the regular season, twice if you count preseason. You were a 500 coach against him, not bad.
Well, thank you for doing your homework. He beat me a few more times in the preseason, though, you don't know about. I'm not talking about it, but Levy, 1960, head coach, University of California. First practice he ever held there on spring practice field. I was a high school coach. I was there. I used to go to every practice. One day I missed a practice. And he came over and saw me and he said, geez, you missed a practice the other day. Where were you? And I said, Coach, I went to a football clinic. He told me the story on lunch the other day.
You haven't changed a bit, Professor.
Well, I hope I have. Standing up in the coach's booth next to us has caught a few balls in his career. Charlie Joyner, the wide receiver coach here, he's caught a few, huh? There's Charlie right there. Caught a few, now he's coaching him how to do the same thing that he did. Nice man. He is a legend.
And they punt out of their own end zone. McDuffie. At the 38-yard line.
7 seconds.
And Ralph Wilson's Bills are on the way to Pittsburgh. Marv Levy unbeaten in playoff games here at Rich Stadium. And the Dolphins, with Bernie Kosar closing out the season, the Dolphins have not won a playoff game on the road since '74, if we count that one in Houston when they won the Super Bowl.
I guess the only negative for Buffalo today is a possible hamstring problem with Tasker and an injury to Lonnie Johnson, their starting tight end. I think that's probably the only negative, right?
And now in the playoffs, the Bills have beaten the Dolphins 3 straight times, and I believe Smith caused Webb to pull out of there. But here comes Kirby at any rate. So the Bills win it 37-22. And the Bills, let's go to Leslie.
Brent, a day of near total domination. Jim Kelly, I mean, both sides of the ball. What was special today?
Especially we had over 300 yards rushing from what I hear, but we were able to mix it up with the run and pass. Some big plays, but I'll tell you what, the offensive line, they did one heck of a job. They deserve a game ball.
What do you have to say about a healthy Thurman Thomas?
Well, it's unbelievable. We all know that number 34 is a key to our offense, and anytime we were able to get everything going, the run and the pass, it opens up holes for him.
Congratulations to you. Back to your hometown of Pittsburgh. Best of luck. Brent.
So the Bills advance. Coming up next, it's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Robin Roberts will set the table as Brian Cox is escorted off the field with full security. Another unhappy exit stage right. So long, Brian. So long, everybody.
How come? Brought to you by Office Depot, where you'll find office products at warehouse prices.
The Bills now know that they will face the Steelers. And Marcus, you're really interested in tomorrow's game now against the Colts and the Chargers. You'll play the winner of that game as a Kansas City Chief. What concerns you?
Well, the two fine teams. We know a lot about San Diego, not much about Indy, but I'll be glued to the television set tomorrow.
I'm sure you will. Lions and Eagles coming up, Coach. Contrasting coaching styles there.
They do. Philadelphia, more conservative, run the ball, physical defense. Detroit, big play, very explosive. Turnovers will be a key in the game.
All right, guys. Well, we'll hear from you again at the half. The Lions and the Eagles coming right up, folks. Stay here.
ABC's NFL Wild Card Saturday, Brought to you by Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn-free with new